Chapter 929. This kind of trash shouldn't be sent to death. You two can come at me. Yihua crooked his finger towards Qingye and Donghuang Baiji. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji did not waste any time and rushed forward together. Yihua took a deep breath. Don't think that the two of them are very weak. One of them is from Niwa clan, and the other is from Donghuang clan. Furthermore, when they were giving birth to a child, the power of my bloodline was added into the child, and adding on the bonus from this set of equipment, the strength of the two of them was not to be underestimated. These two cheated and stole my bloodline power. If I don't use my mystical fire, it will be hard to determine who will win. But to use mystical fire on them? Is there something wrong with his brain? If something happens, he will regret it to death. Do Fusher secretly returned to the group, and then, the group of subordinates began watching the fight between his honor and his wife. Not sure who it was, but crunching sounds could be heard. Yi Hong is actually looking at her purple robe eating potato chips. Damn, in the end, Tang Wei and Li Hun also hid at the back and ate potato chips while watching his honor being abused. Your wife is finally helping us subordinates vent our anger. On the battlefield, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji immediately took out their weapons. Qingye's chasing Sun 3 Pure Ones carried a soul attack, while Donghuang Baiji's Ask Fate carried a fate attack. Yihua immediately waved the Plum Blossom Club in his hand and fought against the two wives by himself. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were not fooling around. A terrifying aura immediately reverberated throughout the entire world, and the snowy weather immediately disappeared. It didn't disappear, it melted. When the three weapons came into contact with each other, a terrifying gale emerged, and the surrounding area was instantly affected. Luckily, there was no one here. If not, everyone would have been instantly killed. Yihua was greatly startled. These two women are serious. Just as Yihua was startled, a comfortable feeling that came from his soul emerged. However, Donghuang Baiji's Ask Fate actually triggered fate. The Plum Blossom Club that was originally blocked by Yihua actually poked into my armor. All of my passive abilities were triggered at this moment. Yihua felt that his soul was being electrocuted, and Qingye felt that she was trembling. Donghuang Baiji felt that she was being paralyzed. This scene caused the subordinates to be dumbfounded. What kind of operation was this? Is this even possible? How strange. It was as if his honor had been electrocuted, and his honor's wife trembled and became motionless. A second later, the two women immediately distanced themselves from each other. Their eyes filled with horror. This skeleton was actually able to block their attacks. How was this possible? I was the one who acted like a spoiled child and asked Yihua for my equipment, and they were all Yihua's precious items. However, they were actually blocked by a skeleton. Unimaginable. Qingye, this skeleton is not simple. Donghuang Baiji said gravely. Qingye nodded her head, then said in a low voice. And when I touched its weapon just now, I felt as if I was paralyzed. Just now, I was also paralyzed for a second. Fortunately, your weapon has soul attack capabilities. Just now my fate-seeking was also activated, but it's a pity that it wasn't able to pierce through its armor. Donghuang Baiji cried out in pity. According to what Yihua said, the probability of fate-seeking being activated is still very low. From the looks of it, its weapons and equipment are not ordinary, and it is even on par with ours. Qingye's gaze became solemn. I didn't expect that the skeleton that we met today would be so formidable. From the looks of it, this skeleton is a bit troublesome. Donghuang Baiji nodded her head. From the looks of it, we have to have a good talk with Yihua today. After all, there is a very powerful enemy that we are not a match for. That's right, we cannot be careless with this matter. Let's see if we are able to get rid of it first. Alright. Let's activate a bit more of the buff. That would be even better. Yihua is very gloomy right now. If I were to injure them, my heart would ache, but if I don't attack them, I wouldn't feel good. The main point is that they are very strong. Unless I use my deviant fire, I won't be able to deal with them. Just as Yihua was pondering, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji had already started their attacks. Qingye shouted out angrily, "Lawless!" Yihua paused for a moment. Lawless? Tonight, I will teach you what is truly lawless. However, after activating lawless, Qingye's aura became even more berserk. Wei Chong was very surprised and couldn't help but say, Your wife's strength is truly a bit scary. That's right, she is about to surpass us. Lai Gu said in a low voice. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji's strength had indeed somewhat surpassed the 7 deadly sins. But that was after they obtained Yihua's bloodline power. If not for Yihua's bloodline, they wouldn't be so powerful. Of course, the bonuses from the equipment that they were wearing also had to be counted. It was impossible for Yihua to win against his wife today, unless he really had the heart to fight against her. Right now, Donghuang Baiji's benevolent navigator underworld fairy was releasing all kinds of dazzling lights, which were all kinds of buffs. Immediately, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji's battle power rose, and even the HP recovery aura was still active. Yihua felt uncomfortable. You two are bullying me a bit. If you have the ability, then fight me one-on-one. What's the big deal about 2 against 1? It's like this on the bed. It's also like this outside the bed. You two are simply shameless. Right now, Yihua wanted to use spells, but when he thought about Qingye's Crimson Heaven, which has the ability to reflect spell damage, and now that he has also used Lawless, all of his subordinates have buffs. I reckon that if I were to use a spell, 70% of the spell damage will be reflected back to my body. However, it seems like I won't be able to compete with them in strength. Qingye's weapon made my soul feel refreshed. And if I were to come into contact with them again right now, it would definitely feel even more refreshed. After all, there are many layers of buffs added onto my body. Why is their luck so good to actually trigger so many buffs added onto my body? It can't be that they used money, right? This time, Yihua didn't fight head-on. If he fought head-on, he would be at a disadvantage. What should I think of? Just as Yihua was thinking of a way, he suddenly heard. Snap! Snap! These were 2 snaps of fingers. Yihua was dumbstruck as he looked at the wedding rings on their hands. F***K. I forgot that they still have the unlimited rings. MD. They are going too far. 2 shackles could be seen appearing on Yihua's body, directly locking him up. Qingye, go. Donghuang Baiji shouted out lightly. This was a good opportunity. Qingye shouted out. Evil thief. Die. Qingye could be seen throwing out her chasing sun 3 pure ones. And this terrifying ancient god artifact instantly wrapped around Yihua. A tremor that came from within Yihua's soul caused Yihua to roll his eyes. Although Yihua's eye sockets were still black, right now, Yihua was indeed rolling his eyes. These 2 stinky bitches, good job. The 2 of you are going to die. I can very responsibly tell you two are going to die. Looking at this scene, LV Liang said in a low voice. His honor is so miserable. He is being beaten up by the 2 madams. That's right. Luo Ho said in a low voice. He didn't dare to speak too loudly. Wei Chong was still very worried about his honor. If this goes on, his honor is going to be played to death. End of this chapter. Chapter 930. Lai Gu secretly took out his phone and filmed the fight, then said in a low voice. His honor is in trouble this time. Your wife is serious. That's right. She is especially serious. It is as if she wants to kill his honor. Yi Hong said in a low voice. I didn't expect that your wife, who usually looks so weak, would be even more ferocious than his honor in a fight. Just look at his honor. Even he is being tortured by that chasing sun 3 pure ones. Towards this chasing sun 3 Qing, Wei Chong and Lai Gu of the 7 deadly sins knew about it. This chasing sun 3 Qing was indeed a deadly weapon. It doesn't cause any harm to the body, but the harm it can cause to the soul is simply explosive. I never would have thought that his honor would actually give this weapon to his honor's wife. This is simply torturing oneself. At this moment, Lai Gu said in a low voice. On the day of his honor's wedding, I will release this video. His honor was beaten up by your wife. Wei Chong teased. If that happens, you will definitely be stewed 100%. That won't happen. His honor has already said it for a few hundred years. But aren't I still fine? The main point is, his honor is becoming more and more human-like. This sentence was the most pertinent evaluation. If it was in the past, if your subordinates dared to come and look at me as a joke, I would beat them up one by one. The current Yihua was much more magnanimous. At most, he would just scold them and not beat them up. Dofusher could be said to be unlucky. On the stage, Yihua was tied up by the chasing sun 3 pure ones. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji took a look at each other. This is a good opportunity. King Luo Rune. Qingya shouted out, and a purple light immediately emerged from her hands. Below Yihua's body, a King Luo Rune immediately condensed, and a terrifying suction force sucked Yihua down from the sky. Inside the rune, a deathly aura could be felt, and the people outside the rune were unable to feel anything. However, right now, Yihua could feel that the cold light in the rune was just like a substance, intertwining on his bones. This Qingya. She is indeed ruthless. She is using the techniques that I taught her to deal with me. The problem is, the techniques that I taught her are all absolute techniques, and they are all extremely powerful techniques that are only inferior to deviant flames. However, this was not the end. The purple light in Qingya's hands condensed, and soon after, it left Qingya's hands and slowly flew towards Yihua. It gradually stopped above Yihua's head. This caused Yihua to be a bit angry. You guys are really going too far. Right after Yihua finished thinking, the purple light directly descended. Although the purple lightning wasn't big, it directly landed on Yihua's bald head. Yihua's entire body turned purple, and his entire body was trembling. The two rays of purple light alternated between each other, causing Yihua to feel extremely comfortable. Empyrean impermanence. Right at this moment, Donghuang Baiji shouted out, and the one fate sword in her hand started emitting out a terrifying aura, causing the entire sky to instantly change. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled. The huge roar seemed to pierce through the heavens and earth. When fate was originally emitting a pinkish glow of starlight, but it gradually turned red. The red lightning on the sword seemed to be out of control, flying everywhere. As long as this red lightning came into contact with it, it would instantly turn into dust. Behind Donghuang Baiji, an enormous illusory figure could be seen condensing out. This illusory figure was similarly emitting out a power that could destroy the heavens and exterminate the earth, causing Donghuang Baiji to look just like a goddess of war that had descended to the mortal world. It's over, his honor is going to die. Lai Gu cried out in alarm. This is too ferocious. These two madams are truly fighting with no regard for their lives. After all, if I miss this opportunity, I won't be able to get another opportunity like this again. The subordinates were indeed a bit worried for his honor. After all, his honor wouldn't hit his wife. However, his honor's wife doesn't know about Yihua's true body, and thus his honor's wife will definitely go all out. Each and every one of his honor's moves were filled with killing intent. Donghuang Baiji waved the one fate sword in her hand, and the enormous illusory figure behind Donghuang Baiji did the same as well. When the enormous one fate sword was lifted up, the air seemed to have been sucked dry, and the entire sky could see the enormous sword falling down while bringing along a gale with it. However, just by falling down from the sky, the entire ground was instantly unable to support itself. Countless cracks spread out, and there was even a terrifying collapse that appeared on the ground. When Yihua saw this, he scolded in his heart. These two crazy bitches, is there a need for you to do this? Which eye of yours saw me do something that goes against the heavens? You two are simply unreasonable, and I am unable to communicate with you two. Both of you are using big moves to kill me. You two are simply shameless. The main point is, I am being entangled by the things that I created. Soul attack, confinement, and electric shock. Do you want me to drip wax on you two to satisfy that perverted desire of yours? Looking at the enormous one fate sword falling down, Yihua could feel the boundless power coming from it. The Empress is indeed ferocious, to actually murder her own husband. If I were to die, you two can just go and cry. It will be too late for regrets. Gotcha. A clear and melodious sound suddenly rang out from the guanchong armor that Yihua was wearing, and a crack could be seen appearing on the right side of his chest. The crack immediately spread throughout the entire armor. After suffering from so many different kinds of injuries, the armor had already reached its limit. In just a short breath of time, the guanchong armor on Yihua's body turned into pieces of rocks and fell off. There's no helping it, they are truly too ferocious, and the enormous sword that is on top of my head is truly trying to take my life. Boom. When Fate Sword finally landed, and the entire ground was trembling crazily, the terrifying aura caused even the sky to stop rumbling, and at this moment, everything seemed to have lost its splendor. Yihua steadily received the attacks from his two wives. I don't know how he feels, but one thing is for sure, he will definitely feel uncomfortable. The terrifying destructive power shocked all the subordinates, and they felt that your wife was about to die. If I beat up his honor like this, it is very likely that I will suffer from his honor's domestic violence. Hitting her husband was fun for a while, but when she got home, he was a washboard. Humph! You all are truly looking down on me too much. Yihua's voice slowly rang out. This caused Qingye and Donghuang Baiji to be incomparably shocked. This skeleton is actually still able to speak after suffering from two powerful attacks. How is this possible? Donghuang Baiji had been using the things that Yihua taught her, but it was actually useless. Could it be that this skeleton is more powerful than Yihua? How is this possible? Yihua often says that he is the most powerful one. Then what is this thing? Is this Yihua's twin brother? Yihua's voice could be heard once again ringing out from within the dust cloud. Super transformation. The subordinates. When did his honor learn to transform? Transform into a crossdresser? This was a little too careless. Yihua finally took out his trump card. This was the technique that Yihua had developed by himself, super transformation. As the name suggested, it was to achieve a more perfect state. It was commonly known as handsome. Along with Yihua shouting out, super transformation, all of the surrounding techniques dissipated, and right now, only Yihua's skeleton remained. All of his weapons and equipment had dissipated just a moment ago. Looking at his honor's current appearance, everyone went into a daze. His honor is still as fond of the color gold as before, to actually change his skeleton into the color gold. End of this chapter. Chapter 931. Indeed, Yihua's originally eerie white bones were dyed with a layer of gold, and there was even a bit of reflection on the bones. Especially that golden bald head of his, it carried the smell of a nouveau riche. Yihua had never used this super transformation, and it could be considered as a secret. Its effect is a bit similar to Qingye's lawless. Both of them are able to increase all of one's abilities, and can be said to be invincible. At the very least, Yihua felt that he could beat his wife to his heart's content. These two mischievous eggs are actually so savage. Today, I will teach you how to be a good wife. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji both sensed Yihua's aura, and their hearts became very heavy, because this golden skeleton looked a lot stronger than before. He even felt that he was no match for it. What should he do? Baiji, we have to go and look for Yihua, Qingye said gravely. This skeleton's strength had already surpassed my imagination. Donghuang Baiji felt the same as well. This golden skeleton is no longer something that I can deal with by myself. Look at the aura that is emitting from the golden skeleton. It has already become extremely terrifying. You two women, today, I will let the two of you know what pain is. Yihua shouted out, and a terrifying aura immediately spread out. The expressions of his honor's subordinates changed. His honor has become stronger again. From the looks of it, I have to train hard too. Even the terrifying his honor didn't stop his footsteps, let alone me. Donghuang Baiji snorted. If you have the guts, then fight again. Yihua. I, the Supreme Overlord, have already used my ultimate move, and you actually said to wait before fighting again? How is that possible? Looks like you're afraid of me. Qingye shouted out in a low voice. Who is afraid of you? We just feel that we can't bully others with numbers. I, the Supreme Overlord. Can't the two of you find a better reason? I, the Supreme Overlord, have already allowed the two of you to bully me with numbers. Oh, are you planning to make a strategic retreat? Yihua teased. These two foolish wives of mine are still rather smart. After knowing that they can't win against me, I, the Supreme Overlord, feel a bit more at ease. At the very least, I won't force myself to fight against them. Having their thoughts seen through by Yihua, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji both felt embarrassed. We have lost face for our husbands. If Yihua were to find out about this matter, he would definitely fly into a rage. Just you wait. Don't leave if you have the guts. Wait for me for a minute. That's right. Give us a minute, and we'll show you what it means to be powerful. After finished speaking, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji disappeared from Baiji's sight. Yihua looked towards his subordinates, and the latter immediately disappeared. If we stay, we will be beaten up. Meanwhile, Yi Hua, who had transformed back into his human form, disappeared from the spot and reappeared in the imperial palace. Daji, serve the tea. Yi Hua walked into the bedroom and said, Master, your wife was looking for you everywhere just now. Daji said respectfully. Right after Daji finished speaking, Yi Hua heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji's figures immediately arrived. Yi Hua looked towards the two women who were beating him up without any regard for their lives. And he really wanted to ruthlessly slap them. Just that. I didn't even cry, so why are you all crying? That's right, both Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were crying. And both of them were hugging onto Yi Hua and crying loudly. Yi Hua was helpless. You guys are the ones who beat me up. Yet you guys are already crying to this extent. Could it be that I, the Supreme Lord, still have to console you? If so, who is going to console me? What's the matter? Yi Hua was very curious. Why are these two women crying? Qingye said sadly. Yi Hua, we have lost face for you. Donghuang Baiji's tears flowed out nonstop. Yi Hua, we ran away, we got cold feet, well, you can just hit us. So that's the reason. These two foolish women. It is only normal for them to be unable to defeat me. If they were able to defeat me, how am I supposed to continue living in the underworld in the future? However, looking at how sad his wives were, Yi Hua sighed. Glory and humiliation are already won. They can't defeat others outside, so they treat it as them losing face for themselves. But look at the Empress. She still wants me to hit them. How can there be such a cute woman like you two? Alright, be good, don't cry anymore. Yi Hua hurriedly consoled his two wives. Just now, the two of you were the fiercest, and how many times did you scold me for being trash? Hearing that Yi Hua was consoling them, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji cried even more fiercely. Yi Hua felt very helpless. The one who is consoling them is always me. Alright, I will take revenge for you too. Really? Yi Hua, you are the best. That damned skeleton is simply too shameless. I am going to put its bones into the sewers to soak. Qingye said indignantly. To actually make me lose face in front of Yi Hua, that is an extremely heinous crime. Donghuang Baiji also said indignantly. Yi Hua, that skeleton is very formidable. You must beat it up ruthlessly, and you must hang it up and beat it up. Use your deviant fire to burn it, and you must not burn it to death. I am truly speechless. You are clearly scolding me, yet I still have to console you. This time, I am truly unlucky. Alright, whatever you say. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji pulled Yi Hua and disappeared, and they immediately arrived at the scene. Yi Hua pretended to look at the scene. The two of you are fighting so fiercely. Where is he? Where is he? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji looked around, but were unable to find anyone. Immediately, they became unhappy. I called my husband over, but in the end, my husband disappeared. Don't you think that I should be angry? I have even thought of the lines to scold Yi Hua. Yi Hua, I reckon that skeleton retreated after knowing the difficulty. That's right, he definitely knew that he couldn't win against the skeleton, which is why he ran away. He is simply a despicable person. I am going to curse him for life. Black lines appeared on Yi Hua's forehead. You two actually want to curse me? Don't your conscience hurt? Didn't I treat you two well enough? Alright, it's just a small matter, calm down, calm down. Yi Hua hurriedly said. You two, stop cursing me. Yi Hua, I am just angry. I can't win against the skeleton, I have lost face for you. The Empress was also incomparably guilty. Yi Hua, quickly hit us, if not, I will feel uncomfortable. Yi Hua was helpless. Do you really want me to hit you? Qingye and Donghuang Baiji nodded their heads very seriously. Alright, I won't be polite then. Yi Hua hugged onto Qingye and Donghuang Baiji and disappeared. As for what he went to do, he naturally went to bully his wife. I am also a man with a temper. Since you two are acting so recklessly, I have to calm down. However, in Water City's conference hall, the atmosphere was very tense. Other than the three Supremes, there were two other people. They were Meridian Break Sect's Supremacy Everlasting Hatred and God Academy's Supremacy Taiha. However, above the Sea of Innocence, there was a huge crowd of people. The reason why they came here today was to demand an explanation. How were they supposed to resolve this matter? May I know why the two of you have come from afar? Kong Feiqing spoke on behalf of the two supremes. After all, Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci weren't in a good mood. End of this chapter. Chapter 932. Eternal Hatred's face was extremely gloomy, especially when he heard those words. He almost couldn't help but attack. What's the matter? Don't you know what you've done in Water City? Or are you provoking the entire Kangluo continent? Eternal Hatred shouted in a low voice, and the pressure of a supreme martial artist instantly spread out. Taihe, who was sitting at the side, closed his eyes and listened quietly. He seemed quite calm. Kong Feiqing and the others had no idea what was happening outside. They had been dealing with all kinds of important matters these days. Eternal Hatred, you've gone too far. Since the establishment of Water City, we have never participated in the affairs of your continent. How can you say that we're provoking you? I, Kong Feiqing, will not admit to such a false accusation. Kong Feiqing was quite unyielding. After all, he was a supreme martial artist. The situation that day was special. After all, the other party was too strong, so he had to be afraid. However, Eternal Hatred and Taihe were also supreme martial artists. Kong Feiqing didn't have much fear. He didn't fear them at all. They could choose to fight one-on-one or in groups. If they really wanted to fight, Water City would accept it. Hearing Kong Feiqing's words, Eternal Hatred was so angry that he laughed. Don't you know what you've done in Water City? 2 waves of sea hells flattened coastal cities, and countless people died in the tsunami. And that so-called golden magma actually fell on the outer sect of my Broken Pulse sect. So many students died. Can you bear the responsibility for this? The 3 of them were stunned at first, but they immediately remembered what had happened. It was probably caused by the battle against the Abyss Wave a few days ago. Eternal Hatred saw their expressions and knew that they knew about it. So he was even more furious. Kong Feiqing heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci and said indifferently, "Do you know what happened to them?" "You're just spouting nonsense." Eternal Hatred said coldly. "Who knew what happened to them? I'm just a supreme martial artist, not a god of creation." "Their son died in the battle a few days ago," Kong Feiqing said in a low voice. Sure enough, Pai Liangjun and Bao Ci were very depressed when it came to this matter. They even clenched their fists. That day, their enemy was right in front of them, but they couldn't do anything. They even listened to him and let him go. They even begged him to go. This kind of situation made people feel despair. That kind of helplessness was really hateful. Taihe slowly opened his eyes and asked doubtfully, "What happened?" Kong Feiqing let out a breath and said in a deep voice, "In our Water City, the old ancestor sealed a giant beast called the Abyss Wave in the magma. It is the burning fiend." Sure enough, everlasting sorrow and Taihe's expressions became solemn when they heard the words Burnsha. Because the Burnsha wasn't an ordinary colossus, it was a primordial divine beast. That day, we sealed it with all our might and fought against the burning fiend incantation. Perhaps it was the aftermath of the battle that led to such a tsunami. We can't do anything about it, Kong Feiqing said helplessly. There were falsehoods and truths in his words. Of course, it was a fight to the death. They had clearly run away. However, the aftershock from the battle was real. Lonesome Hatred didn't believe it and asked in a low voice, "What happened in the end? Where's Fansha?" "If Fansha was still here, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you." Kong Feiqing squeezed out a smile. In this battle, all of them had suffered losses, except for him. Taihe laughed, but this laughter contained contempt. It was as if he was saying, "You want to destroy the burning fiend with just you? How is that possible?" Of course, Lonesome Hatred wouldn't believe such a thing. The burning fiend was so powerful that even deities feared it. You say that the 3 of you killed the burning fiend? Aren't you playing with children? Do you think that we are easy to deceive? Is the burning fiend something that the 3 of you can kill? Lonesome Hatred wouldn't believe such a thing even if he was beaten to death. Kong Feiqing snorted. Lonesome Hatred, just because you don't have the strength doesn't mean that my water castle doesn't have the strength. Do you understand? Just now when we came over, we discovered that there was a bit of a problem with your star cannons. At this moment, Taihe continued speaking. The star cannons were destroyed by Ren Yao that day, but how could a water castle without a star cannons do? Thus, they made a fake one and placed the fake star cannons on the city walls, giving people a kind of illusion. From the outside, there was no difference between the fake star cannons and the fake star cannons. However, the fake star cannons were just empty shells and were unable to gather energy. I didn't expect that he would actually see through it. This water castle without a star cannons was just like a drunken lady, allowing people to do whatever they wanted and trample all over them. Kong Feiqing picked up the teacup in his hand and took a sip. The star cannons are my water castle's secret treasures, and it was also the star cannons that destroyed the burning fiend. After saying this, lonesome hatred and he started to believe him a little. After all, the star cannons of Water Castle were famous for being ruthless. The reason why they didn't directly attack was because they were afraid of this star cannons. It was said that even Supremes couldn't withstand a single shot from this star cannons, and were instantly turned into dregs. He understood now. It turned out that these star cannons had been fired before. No wonder it felt like there was nothing at all. Then what about the burning fiend's corpse? Lonesome Hatred asked in a deep voice. You guys talk so much about the burning fiend, you have to at least let me see the corpse, right? After all, there's no proof for these words. Kong Feiqing stood up and took down a box from the shelf at the side. The burning fiend's corpse is in this box. Kong Feiqing stretched out the small box in his hand. Lonesome Hatred and he looked at the box, and the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. Do you really think we're 3 years old? For a race like the burning fiend, no matter how weak it is, it's still as big as a person, right? I'm afraid you're trying to fool us with a cockroach's corpse. I know the doubts in your hearts. The burning fiend is indeed very big, but after it died, its body shrank, and it's about the same size as an ordinary spider. When Kong Feiqing brought people to look for the corpse, it really took them a long time to find it. It was really like looking for a needle in a haystack. Kong Feiqing opened the box and Lonesome Hatred and he both looked at it. It was like a dead spider with 8 legs bent, but its body was white, like a maggot. In fact, this was also the first time Lonesome Hatred and he saw the burning fiend, and their eyes were filled with curiosity. After all, the burning fiend was something that even the gods were afraid of. For this water castle, it actually killed one. Was this real or fake? This is the burning fiend? Kong Feiqing, aren't you a little too careless? Lonesome Hatred couldn't feel any aura at all. It was just like an ordinary insect. I don't think so either. He also said. Kong Feiqing closed the box and said in a deep voice. How would you know? It doesn't matter, but I want to tell you that our water castle can destroy the burning fiend, and we won't be afraid of anyone. Kong Feiqing, is this the attitude of your water castle? Lonesome Hatred asked in a deep voice. Pai Liangjun stood up at this time. Lonesome Hatred, who can stop natural and man-made disasters. If you want to use this method to invade Water Castle, then let's fight. End of this chapter. Chapter 933. Fight. Bao Xi also stood up and shouted. His son and mount had died. He couldn't swallow this anger. Since they wanted to fight, then come. Water City wouldn't be afraid of them. Kong Feiqing didn't expect Pai Liangjun and Bao Xi to be so stubborn. They actually said they wanted to fight. How could he let them back down? He was just expressing his attitude. He didn't really want to fight. After all, the star cannon was gone. Without this powerful killing intent, it would be very difficult to deal with them. After all, there were more than 2 Supremes in the Kangluo continent. If a few more came, it would be a problem. Everlasting Hatred and Taiha's complexions worsened when they heard the attitude of these people. They were considering a problem. Should they fight or not? Since the other side's attitude was so unyielding, if they backed down now, wouldn't it make others think they were afraid of Water City? However, thinking of the star cannon outside, Everlasting Hatred and Taiha were a little worried. This wasn't a joke. Even Supremes were afraid of it. The atmosphere was so heavy that it even caused the air to quiet down. Kong Feiqing had his own worries, and so did Everlasting Hatred. Neither side wanted to fight, but if no one gave them a way out, they would have no choice but to fight. If a fight really broke out, Water City would definitely be at a disadvantage. After all, with everlasting hatred and Taiha's status, if the two of them called for the help of other Supremes, how could Water City resist them? The main problem was that the star cannon was gone, but the star cannon was still there. In fact, Water City's attitude could be even more unyielding. Both sides were in a deadlock, and it seemed like they would fight at any moment. At this time, Abalone suddenly appeared. Looking at the various supreme beings present, he slightly leaned forward and said in a gentle voice, "Seniors, please calm down. This entire matter is just a misunderstanding. If a fight breaks out, it will be the loss of both sides. Peace is the most important." With Abalone as a way out, the atmosphere finally relaxed. At least it wasn't the kind of situation where they would fight at any moment. Supreme everlasting sorrow. Most of the people in Water City know that a burning fiend has appeared in Water City. There's no need for us to lie to you about such a thing. It's unavoidable for accidents to occur in battle. We Water City express our condolences to those who died in this disaster. What Abalone said was pertinent. At the very least, it made everlasting hatred and Taihe feel a lot more comfortable. However, it was only a little. This girl was good at talking, and she was much better than the other three. Bao Xi was very puzzled. When did his daughter become so talkative? She had never seen Sharky so brave before. She belonged to the pretty girl from a humble family type. Of course, Abalone was not that kind of person. He was taught by Qi Shuwen. In Qi Shuwen's heart, his position in the Bao family was still too low. If he did something, it would be helpful in the future. Moreover, now was not the time to start a war. Qi Shuwen also knew about the star cannon. The current Water City wasn't a match for the Bao clan. Once it fell, his reputation as the Bao clan's son-in-law would be gone. Now he didn't get any benefits except for a woman. After hearing this, eternal hatred said in a deep voice, "Mourn? How can we mourn with so many wrong souls? All the people in the coastal areas have been devoured, and all they do is mourn?" Abalone's function had been completed, so he didn't participate in it. Kong Feiqing of course heard it. He said in a low voice, "Everlasting hatred, although this natural disaster was an accident, it was caused by our Water City. Therefore we will not shirk our responsibility. We can discuss the reconstruction work." Pai Liangjun and Bao Xi seemed to have come to their senses. It was true that they couldn't fight now. It was very disadvantageous for them. Everlasting hatred and Taiha also knew the pros and cons. Since the other party had given them face, it would be easy to negotiate. After all, they had come today to ask for an explanation. Everlasting hatred stood up and said, "All right, let's discuss this matter properly." Kong Feiqing nodded and sent Everlasting hatred and Taiha out. Today's matter was considered settled. As for the following discussion, they would make plans later. After Everlasting hatred and Taiha emerged from the sea, they brought their people back. They were very satisfied with this result. At least Water City had bowed its head. Next, they would discuss the matter of compensation. In the meeting hall, Bao Xi shouted, "Sharky, come out." Bao Yu walked in from the door and greeted respectfully, "Father." "What happened just now?" Bao Xi asked in a low voice. Abalone pursed her lips, as if she didn't want to say it. "Speak." "Lord Father, it was my husband who taught me to say it." Abalone couldn't help but say it. Just now, her husband had clearly told her not to say it was taught by her. Her husband was a low-profile person, doing good deeds without leaving his name. Having such a husband was also a blessing. "Qi Shuwen taught you?" "Yes." "Let him in," Bao Xi said in a low voice. Qi Shuwen's figure slowly walked in and respectfully said, "Greetings, Lord Father and Patriarchs." Bao Xi looked at his son-in-law. If it wasn't for his daughter liking him, how could she have married such a person? "You told Sharky to say that?" Bao Xi coldly asked. "Yes, Lord Father." "How dare you?" Bao Xi angrily shouted and slammed the table. Qi Shuwen appeared very calm, not panicking in the slightest. On the other hand, Abalone panicked. "Lord Father, my husband didn't do anything wrong." "He didn't do anything wrong. What about our Water City's face? Isn't this showing weakness in front of those two fellows?" At this time Kong Feiqing smiled and said, Brother Bao, let's hear what your son-in-law thinks first. Thinking he's smart. Bao Ci coldly snorted and drank the tea in one gulp. Qi Shuwen, tell me, why did you do this? Kong Feiqing indifferently asked. Abalone gave him an encouraging look. Qi Shuwen looked at the three supreme beings and said, because the current water city doesn't have the strength to start a war. Bang! Bao Ci directly smashed the table. Impudent! How can you know the strength of our water city? Kong Feiqing and Pai Liangjun's expressions weren't good either. This was destroying their own prestige and boosting their opponent's morale. Abalone was also frightened. How could her husband say that? No matter what, he couldn't say that Water City wasn't good. Qi Shuwen continued. If the star cannons were still here, I wouldn't have said that. Our Water City is afraid of the number of supreme beings they have, and they are also afraid of our star cannons. If we were to start a war, Water City would become history, or even a tourist attraction. And today they came here mainly to test us. The situation just now was very dangerous, and I had no choice but to let Sharky come out and give us a way out. Lord Father, Patriarchs, we don't have the star cannons now. This is a fact. Following Qi Shuwen's words, the three supreme beings' expressions weren't good. Although this was a fact, it still made them unhappy. Chapter 934. Furthermore, for the matter of causing the tsunami, Watertown is naturally responsible for it. Rather than shirking the responsibility, why don't we just accept it, and by doing so, we will be able to obtain a good reputation. By then, everyone will only remember how good Watertown is, and by then, what reason would they have to attack us? Because there would be no more excuses. Following Qi Shuwen's words, the three supremes became silent. Compared to the time when we had the star cannon, we indeed have to hide from it. We should also quickly find something to replace the star cannon. Only then would we be able to ensure the safety of Watertown. After all, there are too many fishy things going on in this matter. Hearing that there was something fishy going on, the three supremes all looked towards Qi Shuwen. What fishy things? Pai Liangjun asked gravely. Those 5 women. Qi Shuwen said gravely. Qi Shuwen was not a kind person, he had a stomach full of evil tricks. These few days he was also thinking about how to do it, and was also looking for an opportunity, and today was the opportunity. Those 5 women? Bao Ci asked confusedly. That's right, those 5 women should have been saved by Pippi, and one of them was even captured by him. Didn't he release him in the end? However, this capture was just an act, those 5 women aren't weak and delicate. The three supremes immediately recalled. If it was an ordinary person who saw that kind of scene, they would definitely be scared to death, but those 5 women seemed to be just watching a show. Qi Shuwen continued. That day Fishy and I didn't rush back, and we saw everything. That Fansha was killed by those 5 women. Everyone sucked in a mouthful of cold air. That Fansha was actually killed by those 5 women. Just how strong are those 5 women? Why didn't you say so earlier? Pai Liangjun said gravely. Because these few days I have been thinking, why did they do that? What is their goal? But today's matter made me have a thought. What is it? Bao Ci asked gravely. Those 5 women were purposely arranged to come over, and then caused a disaster. This way, they would be able to openly come over and provoke us. Qi Shuwen's words caused the three supremes to be astonished. Those 5 women are creating opportunities for others. What a vicious thought. Abeo Yu looked at her husband and felt very proud. Her husband's talent was outstanding, and she had not misjudged him. From the very beginning, we have fallen into someone else's trap. Lord Father, Patriarchs, think about it carefully. Why did all the young masters fight? Was it because of them? Even during my wedding, my brain almost caused me to lose the love of my life. After Qi Shuwen finished speaking, he looked tenderly at Abalone Fish. Abalone Fish revealed a guilty look. She had been fooled and almost scolded her husband away. So all of this is a conspiracy from the Kangluo continent. They are plotting against our water city. Qi Shuwen was also laying the groundwork. They couldn't fight now, but that didn't mean they couldn't fight in the future. This was because Qi Shuwen knew that Water City would not participate in the matters of the continent. However, This was because their hatred was not strong enough. Therefore, what he had to do now was to attract hatred, especially from Bao Xi and Pai Liangjun. Their sons had died. This kind of hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. Moreover, now that they knew that this was a conspiracy from the continent, they became even more furious. After Bao Xi and Pai Liangjun heard this, they were indeed furious. After all, what Qi Shuwen said was very reasonable. They even felt that it was most likely the case. This damned everlasting hatred, Pai Liangjun shouted angrily. His son was kind enough to save someone, but in the end he was schemed against. Don't you think this kind of thing is infuriating? Bao Xi's face was gloomy. If everlasting hatred was still here, he would definitely make a move. Although Qi Shuwen didn't mention anyone in their hearts, they had already tacitly agreed that it was everlasting hatred. However, Qi Shuwen continued. Now that we have lost the powerful star cannon, we have to advance step by step and wait for the time when we are strong. At that time, no one will dare to bully my water city. These words were impassioned and gave people a sense of motivation. I've finished speaking, Qi Shuwen said respectfully. He cupped his hands and left with abalone fish. The conference hall was incomparably quiet. After a long time, Kong Feiqing said, "Seems like the Bao clan has found a wise son-in-law. Today, I can see that he is a resourceful person." "He's pretty good," Pai Liangjun said. It seemed like the three supremes had all been deceived. Actually, it wasn't really deceived. Apart from not telling the 5 women their identities, everything else was true. Even his goal was scared silly. This Qi Shuwen could be considered an expert in assisting. Bao Xi felt that this son-in-law of his was indeed not bad. He actually had such an opinion. It seemed like he had underestimated Qi Shuwen. Qi Shuwen's goal could be considered to have been achieved. Now all he had to do was wait and properly develop himself. There were many good things in the Sea of Innocence. Reaching the Supremes was only a matter of time. Moreover, the Bao clan also had many good things. If he treated abalone fish well, when the time came, abalone fish would definitely say something about it. If that happened, wouldn't Lord Father give it to him? As for those 5 women, sooner or later he would surpass them. And that empress. And that man, sooner or later, Qi Shuwen will beat you up. Perhaps Qing Yutong still didn't know that her goal had been achieved by accident. At this moment, the group of 7 looked as if they were on a vacation. Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao sat on the back of a horse, while the 5 women sat in the carriage and chatted. When women were together, they had countless topics to talk about. They could practically chat endlessly. However, the relationship between Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao was a bit unusual. At this moment, Yang Haoyan was sitting on the back of a horse. He suddenly said, "I suddenly feel like drinking something." Ren Yao took a look at Yang Haoyan, then rubbed her head. Recently, her hair hasn't grown much. Drink what? Protect you. Ren Yao. When the 5 women in the carriage heard what Yang Haoyan said, they immediately laughed until their stomachs hurt. This Yang Haoyan is simply a slut. As for Ren Yao could be seen licking the corner of her mouth, then slightly raised her finger. "Do you really want to protect me?" Ugh, Yang Haoyan almost vomited. This was the reverse teasing, and it would happen a few times every day. In any case, these 2 sluts were together, and they were happy and joyful the entire journey. "Are we not there yet?" Qing Yutong asked. Yang Haoyan looked at the sky. "Big sis, we should be there by tomorrow. Why don't we use teleportation? If we do that, we will lose a lot of happiness." In actuality, the most ordinary means of transportation can actually bring happiness. As for where they were going, the closest place would be Meridian Break Sect. Qing Yutong planned to go and take a look at little Ali and Gadi. I wonder how those 2 little fellows are doing. Brother-in-law is truly heartless, throwing them away just like that. I reckon that right now, they are having a 3-person world and are very happy. Chapter 935. Omega 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 Omega, choking with sobs. Novel Qing Yutong's guess was indeed correct. Yihua had indeed experienced the world of 3 before. As the sky gradually darkened, the 7 of them rested on the grass not far from the roadside, and started a fire to barbecue. Of course, the job of hunting was handed over to the two flashy guys, so it was much easier with their underlings around. They could do a lot of manual labor. Ren Yao was already used to it. There was nothing wrong with being a lackey, as long as it felt glorious. That way it would be balanced. Yang Haoyan was thinking that since even an expert like Ren Yao was willing to be a subordinate, it was even more so for him, a dozun, to be a subordinate. The 5 women were lying on the chairs, and there was a small table in the middle with drinks on it. The 2 men acted as servants throughout the entire process. While eating the skewers, Qing Yutong suddenly said, "Let me test you guys on a question." Yang Haoyan, Ren Yao. When the 2 of them heard this, they instantly lost their composure. Asking this question every day was simply too shameless. It should not be logical at all. Moreover, he had to be laughed at. The other 4 women were already preparing to laugh. It was too interesting. Look at their expressions. Do you know why mice can fly? Qing Yutong asked with a smile on her face. And that smile of hers could be said to be the smile of a devil. Sure enough, Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao were dumbfounded when they heard this question. Can mice fly? Did I boast to the heavens? Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao shook their heads, indicating that they had no idea. Idiot, it's because after a mouse eats an immortal pill, it can fly. So stupid. Ha ha ha. The other 4 women immediately laughed and cooperated with him. The 2 men had bitter expressions on their faces. Your question is illogical, right? If you have the ability, come and make it logical. Qing Yutong immediately asked again. Why are snakes able to fly? Yang Haoyan immediately raised his hand. Hee, if I can't answer such a question, then I'll go eat sh*t. Speak. Yang Haoyan said proudly. That's because the snake also ate the elixir of immortality. Wrong, because the snake ate the mouse. Yang Haoyan. Ha ha ha, you idiot. Ren Yao immediately pointed at Yang Haoyan and began to ridicule him. Yang Haoyan instantly felt bad. The tender laughter of the 5 women resounded under the night sky. Who knew how happy they were? Qing Yutong paused for a bit, then continued. Why can eagles fly? Ren Yao immediately raised her hand. It was too easy. Because the eagle ate immortal pills, mice and snakes. After saying that, Ren Yao started to feel proud. Look, I've sealed off all your paths. I'm still the smart one. As expected of a guardian, I'm too quick-witted. Eagles have always been able to fly. Qing Yutong laughed out loud, then held onto her stomach and laughed out loud. However, the depressed Yang Haoyan pointed at Ren Yao and shouted, haha idiot. Ren Yao's face was full of embarrassment. You guys are too much. You're bullying me. I'm not going to play with you anymore. That's what my mum said. After the daily teasing, everyone enjoyed the delicious food and the warm weather in the south. It was so comfortable. However, at this moment, a strange sound rang out. It sounded like footsteps. The 5 women heard it, but they didn't care and continued to enjoy it. With a dozun and a luodan who could pinch a jizun to death, what was there to be afraid of? This was an invincible team. Whoever came would die. From the darkness, 3 men walked out. From a glance, one could tell that these 3 men were not good people. There were swords on their waists, and their faces were sinister. Big brother. Beauty. Big brother. Beauty. I'm not blind. I don't need you guys to remind me. Also, we are launching a sneak attack. Why are you guys shouting so loudly? Are you guys sick in the head? Originally, Qing Yutong and the others weren't curious. However, after hearing this kind of conversation, they became curious. They loved to see people who were sick in the head. Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao looked at the 3 of them with a stupefied face. Seems like these 3 people are brothers. However, it's a pity that they have such brains. Such a good plan was ruined by you guys. Big brother said angrily. He didn't hide anymore and directly stood out. However, his leg seemed to have been tangled by a tree branch. Plop! His entire face smashed into the grass. Ha ha ha. The 5 women instantly collapsed from laughing. Even Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao were laughing endlessly. Are these 3 ordinary people here to be funny? If they are here to rob, can't they be a bit more imposing? Big brother. Why are you lying on the ground? Big brother, don't be afraid, we can win. Second brother and third brother hurriedly helped big brother up. Fortunately, it was nighttime right now, and the redness on big brother's face was covered. Leg, leg, leg. Big brother is really convinced, my leg is tangled. Second brother took a look and saw that big brother's leg was tangled. Clang. Second brother immediately pulled out his saber. Big brother, I will help you chop it off. Third brother couldn't help but remind. Second brother, the sky is dark right now, don't chop off big brother's leg. Ha 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 ha. Even Brett was laughing until his stomach hurt. I have never seen such a weirdo before. Big brother's face stiffened. No, I will do it myself. Big brother, believe in my saber technique. Second brother patted his chest and said, appearing to be very confident. Third brother couldn't help but say, last time big brother let you practice saber technique, look at the result. You chopped off both ends, but you couldn't chop off the middle. Big brother, believe in me, this time I won't make a mistake. Scram. All right. Big brother had no other choice, he had already lost his face. He could only start from his imposing manner. What is imposing manner? That is, the instant the saber is pulled out, I will be able to display a terrifying aura and scare the other party. The imposing manner of the little brother pulling out the saber just now doesn't count. Big brother stood up with great difficulty and held onto the saber hilt with his right hand. Looking at that group of people from the corner of his eyes, he was actually still laughing. I will make all of you unable to laugh in a moment. Look at big brother's saber technique. I will shock all of you. Clang. With a flash of silver light, big brother pulled out his saber and raised it up high, then sized up that group of people. As expected. All of you were shocked by my saber technique. Are you afraid now? You even dared to tease me just now. You are simply courting death. Later on, I will kill those two men and keep the beauties for myself. Big brother, you. Third brother looked at big brother and said intermittently, as if he had seen a ghost. And when big brother turned around to take a look, fuck. Second brother could be seen holding onto his neck and looking at his big brother with a face full of shock, seemingly saying, big brother, even if my saber technique isn't good, you don't have to do this. Qing Yutong and the others were indeed stupefied. When this fellow pulled out the saber just now, he conveniently cut off his little brother's neck. This is simply too shocking. Why is there such a thing happening? This is too shocking. Qing Yutong felt that this little brother's saber technique isn't good. This big brother's saber technique is the same as well. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 889. Translation: the red packet on that little butt is simply too tempting. My future is on that little butt. After Yang Haotian left, Qing Yutong said, what do we do? Among these 5 women, Qing Yutong's identity was right there. After all, she was your wife. Although Qing Yutong did not allow them to address her as their wife, they still had to respect her. Yi Zizi and Kaiyan basically would not consider this problem. They would just kill them once they caught them. The only ones that could be discussed were the other 3. Yuhua said softly, I think, how about we talk about it after we get there first? Then what are we going to do? Directly rush into other people's sect and kill them? Brett laughed lightly. If that was really the case, I can settle everything by myself with my bow. Qing Yutong shook her head. This is too simple. There is not much fun in it. If we are going to play, then let's play big. How big? Kaiyan asked curiously. Even Yi Zizi, who was angry, also looked towards Qing Yutong curiously. Let me think about it first. Qing Yutong also did not know how to play. Thinking back to when they were an Ing family, they just let nature take its course. Upon thinking back to when they were an Ing family, Qing Yutong's eyes lit up. Zizi, do you still remember how we were kidnapped into Ing family? A strange smile appeared on Yi Zizi's face. Then she looked towards Brett, Yuhua and the others. Being looked at by Yi Zizi like that, everyone felt uncomfortable. Yang Haotian, come over. Qing Yutong waved her hand. Yang Haotian, who was squatting at the side and drawing circles, ran over eagerly. Where did he look like an emperor? He looked more like a little follower. Boss, what's the matter? Yang Haoyan even directly changed the way he addressed Yu Hua. I heard that there is a water city at the intersection of the north and south? Qin Yutong also unintentionally heard it in the city. Hearing the water city, Yang Haoyan paused for a moment, then said, Boss, we can directly go there from the sky. There is no need to go to the water city. Are you very afraid of this water city? Qin Yutong asked curiously. Boss, this water city is an intermediary that separates the north and south. I heard that there are 3 great clans inside, and they are extremely powerful. If the strongest on the continent are the Broken Meridian sect and the Deity Academy, then the 3 great clans in Water City are the same. Their clan leaders are all supreme beings. There is no need for us to go there. Yang Haoyan really didn't want to go to that damned place. He could just fly over the water. No one would care. Even if he went by boat, no one would care. But if you force your way into Water City, you're done for. Qin Yutong suddenly revealed out a smile. Let's go to Water City. Without you guys, how am I going to show off my awesome saber techniques? Big Brother glanced at Qin Yutong and the others from the corner of his eyes, and discovered that the other party was already very surprised. I reckon that the other party is also shocked by my own blade technique. Looks like I have to take revenge for my little brother. Second brother, third brother, don't worry. Big Brother will help you experience your share. Leave the rest to Big Brother. Have a good rest. We will still be brothers in our next lives. Big Brother will teach you a peerless saber technique. If second brother and third brother heard this, they wouldn't want to be brothers with you even if they were beaten to death. Big Brother began to twirl the knife in his hand, and it shone with a silver light under the moonlight. Ren Yao looked at it and said lightly, "What a show-off." Hearing that, Big Brother was no longer calm. This is a technique that I secretly learned from a Broken Meridian sect's disciple, and he actually said that I'm playing around with it. Seems like I have to let him experience the power of Broken Meridian sect's saber technique. It's just that I haven't learned this set of saber technique yet. However, I don't care anymore. These people are too arrogant. I have to extinguish their prestige. Huh. Qin Yutong and the others were startled. This is truly a person who shouts at the slightest disagreement. Ultimate saber technique. Hearing Big Brother shout out such a ferocious name, this kind of saber technique must definitely be very awesome. Let's see how powerful this ultimate saber technique is. Big Brother could be seen twirling the knife in his hand at an extremely fast speed. It was less show-off and more ferocious. Yu Hua couldn't bear to applaud. This kind of saber technique has to be encouraged. Along with Yu Hua clapping her hands, Big Brother instantly looked over. The beauty is actually applauding. With this moment of distraction, the knife in Big Brother's hand swung towards him at an unimaginable angle. Pucci. Everyone was shocked. Even Big Brother was shocked. This group of people is so ferocious, they actually messed up my rhythm. I haven't even mastered this set of ultimate saber technique yet. I didn't expect that I would die here today. This is truly pitiful. The future overlord actually died before he even started. Qin Yutong felt that something was wrong. These people can't possibly be performing acrobatics, right? The kind where all of them will stand up and ask for money later on. After all, this is too inconceivable. You guys are clearly here to rob, but in the end, you guys fell before you even started. Big Brother's expression was sinister, and he actually directly pulled out the knife from his abdomen, then pointed at everyone, seemingly saying, "You guys wait for me, I will go and call for help." After that, he turned around and ran. Plop! Big Brother was once again entangled by a tree branch, and he fell onto the ground, unable to get up anymore. Qin Yutong looked at Brett, Brett looked at Yu Hua looked at Kai Yun, and Kai Yun looked at Yi Zizi. Their minds were filled with question marks, and they completely couldn't understand what these 3 people were doing. The sausages in Yang Haotian's and Ren Yao's hands were all black, and an unpleasant smell was emitting out from them. Ren Yao, go and take a look at the situation. Are they performing acrobatics? Qin Yutong couldn't help but say, "This is too bizarre. I completely can't accept this kind of idiotic plot." Ren Yao immediately went to take a look, then shouted out, "Boss, they are really dead." Qin Yutong. F***K. Yi Zizi couldn't help but curse. Shocked, incomparably shocked. They are actually really robbers, my god. How did they rob in the past? Yang Haoyan couldn't help but go and take a look at the situation as well. It is actually true. The 5 women couldn't help but run over to take a look at the situation as well. Even television dramas wouldn't be filmed like this. I, Qin Yutong, am convinced by your brains. You guys are awesome. You guys successfully acted cool in front of me. Qin Yutong, very successful. You guys are practically using your lives to act cool. Are we too cruel? Kai Yin couldn't help but say. Yi Zizi rubbed her chin, then said seriously. It's not that we are cruel, it's that they scared us. Yang Haoyan felt that there was nothing wrong with what Yi Zizi said. These 3 people scared us. However, when he saw the red packet on Yi Zizi's butt, Yang Haoyan couldn't help but swallow his saliva. I really want to go and touch it. As long as I touch it, I, Yang Haoyan, will do anything. However, right at this moment, 2 red rays of light landed at the side. The red rays of light were 2 men who wore white robes. If they are in the surroundings, they should be the people from Meridian Break sect. The 2 men did not say anything, and they walked over to take a look at the situation of the 3 people. Senior brother, they are all dead. This senior brother looked towards Qin Yutong and the others, and his brows wrinkled. These women are all very good looking. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 937. But who would have thought that under that beauty, there was actually a heart of a snake and scorpion? How vicious, to actually kill a young man in the prime of his youth. Did you guys kill them? Senior brother asked in a low voice. Their methods of killing were too ruthless. Qin Yutong pursed her lips. If I said that they killed themselves, would you guys believe me? I don't believe you. Actually, I can't believe it either, but it happened. It's true. They can testify that this big brother killed 2 of his underlings, and then committed suicide. They are also robbers. Qin Yutong said solemnly, expressing that we really didn't do anything to them, and they were the ones who played themselves to death. The senior martial brother said coldly, you have committed murder and arson in the Broken Meridian sect. Follow me back to the mountain and await punishment. You guys from the Meridian Break sect are way too unreasonable, aren't you? They were clearly the ones who killed themselves. Kai Yin couldn't help but say. His temper was starting to show. Otherwise, he was going to get rid of them later on. Don't try to quibble. This is solid evidence. This senior brother seemed to have a sense of justice. On the other hand, the junior brother seemed a little wary. He looked at everyone, as if he wanted his senior brother to consider it, but he didn't know what to say. Ren Yao looked towards Qin Yutong, as if she was saying, I can't take it anymore. They wanted to kill these 2 idiots. They were even more stupid than the 3 robbers. Qin Yutong suddenly laughed lightly and said, this handsome brother, we are really passing by this place. We are going to Meridian Break sect's Jade Vein Peak to visit my nephew and niece. You bunch of presumptuous people, don't talk nonsense here. It seemed that there was indeed something wrong with this eldest senior brother's brain. He was so inflexible. Could it be that he didn't notice a problem? The junior brother standing behind him whispered, Senior brother, be careful. However, the senior snorted coldly. What's there to be careful about? We are disciples of the Broken Meridian sect. Who dares to provoke us? Dong Huangli, do you know Gadi? Qin Yutong asked tentatively. She had yet to come up with a plan to deal with Meridian Break sect, but it seemed that this mission belonged to Ali and Gadi. It was better for her not to interfere. Sure enough, upon hearing the names of Dong Huangli and Gadi, this big senior apprentice brother's expression changed. You are Dong Huangli and Gadi's relative? Qin Yutong was speechless. It seems like I have to rely on these 2 little fellows now. That's right, they are my big sister's children. Originally, we were planning to rest here, but in the end we met with robbers. Who knew that the robbers would hack themselves to death, and we were unable to stop them at all, sigh. Qin Yutong sighed. Senior brother, little junior sister and little junior brother are people that the sect head thinks highly of. If she really is, we have to properly entertain her. This junior brother still had some brains. Right now, Dong Huangli and Gadi were the big brothers of Jade Vein Peak. and even the peak master had to treat them seriously. It was said that not long from now, Donghuang Li and God Yi would be sent to Broken Vein Sect's inner sect, and it was even possible for them to enter the sect master's tutelage. His future was limitless. All right. If you dare to lie to me, the Meridian Break sect will not let you off. All right. How can I, Qing Yutong, lie to people? Oh, that's right. How are those two little fellows from that family? Did they cause any trouble? Otherwise, your aunt will have to give them a good spanking. The junior brother said with a smile. Junior sister and junior brother have been very obedient in the peak. They have been diligently training and received everyone's affirmation. Qing Yutong doesn't believe it. If God Yi had been diligently training, I would still believe it. But if you say that Ali, that little fellow, was diligently training, Qing Yutong, will not believe it no matter what. However, I will know when I go and take a look tomorrow. All right, everyone, let's go and sleep. Qing Yutong waved her hand. Let's have a good sleep, then accompany Ali to play tomorrow. After that, we will continue heading south. It's a pity that I won't be able to see Yi Yen and Yi Lu. They are at the southwest, and they are a bit far. When I have time, I will go and see those two little fellows. The senior brother and junior brother didn't say anything and watched as those people went to sleep. Why did you stop me just now? Senior brother, those people are obviously strong. We have to be careful. So what if they are strong? My Broken Vein sect is not afraid. You have to remember this. And senior brother, I understand. It was precisely because of this kind of brainwashing that the disciples of Broken Vein sect were rather arrogant in the outside world. However, it was precisely because of this arrogance that more people wanted to go to Broken Vein sect, because as long as they become a disciple of Broken Vein sect, they would be able to be arrogant. The next morning, everyone continued on their way to Broken Vein sect's Jade Vein Peak. At noon, everyone arrived at the foot of the mountain. There was even a small village at the foot of the mountain. Qing Yutong and the others did not stop there, and after this senior brother's report, they quickly entered Jade Vein Peak. This was much more convenient. Walking on the stairs, one could have a good view of the scenery, and it was indeed very beautiful. Although this Broken Vein sect did not give off the feeling of a nouveau riche, it gave off a feeling of depth. It was just like those kinds of schools that had ancient history, that kind of feeling of depth. This was something that Voidless Empire did not have. Voidless Empire was just like a newbie, but this newbie was bullying elementary school students here, casually crushing them. The few of them walked into Jade Vein Peak. Right now, it was noon, and there were not many people training. Furthermore, most of them were children. Qing Yutong and the others definitely received attention. After all, their appearances were there for all to see. After passing through the front courtyard, this senior brother led Qing Yutong to the guest courtyard. You two can just wait here. After finished speaking, this senior brother left. After the two of them left, Qing Yutong sized up the place curiously. This place is rather interesting. Boring. Yi Zizi pinched her fingernails, appearing to be very bored. However, just as Qing Yutong was about to say something else, an explosion rang out in the entire Jade Vein Peak, and it felt as if the entire mountain was shaking. The hell? We encountered a fight the moment we arrived? Kai Yin couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Qing Yutong walked outside to take a look, and she saw a strand of black smoke slowly rising into the air. And that black smoke didn't seem to be anything good either. However, Qing Yutong discovered that the other disciples were very calm, as if this kind of thing often happened. Qing Yutong casually called a little big brother and asked, and when that little big brother saw a beautiful girl calling him, his face immediately turned red. What was that explosion just now? Qing Yutong asked curiously. The little boy said shyly, Oh, that came from the pill concocting room. It happens every day. After finished speaking, he even raised his umbrella. Just as Qing Yutong was feeling puzzled, it actually started raining. And this kind of rain actually brought along a kind of strange aura. Don't stretch out your hand. This kind of acid rain can even burn the clothes on your body. Right now, in the entire mountain, everyone has to bring along an umbrella every day when they go out, and this umbrella is specially provided for them. Just who is concocting pills? Is it that scary? Qing Yutong asked curiously. It's Donghuang Li. What? Dong Huangli. Qin Yutong cried out in surprise. Chapter 938. That's right now. We can only hope that Dong Huangli and God Yi quickly go to the inner court and stop harming us. After all, they are just two little devils. Qin Yutong was speechless. What did Qin Yutong say? I already said that Ali is not someone who knows her place. Look at the people here. They all hope that these two little fellows can quickly scram. Just as Qin Yutong was laughing, two voices sounded out. Little Ant. When the boy saw that Dong Huangli and God Yi had arrived, he was immediately shocked. When he heard that they called this woman Ant, he was even more shocked. Dong Huangli was wearing a gray robe that was tattered, and even her face was covered in dust. Those who did not know might even think that her face was originally that dark. Looking at God Yi, he had grown quite a bit taller, but his expression was still so cold. Ali, Qin Yutong shouted out excitedly. I haven't seen Ali for a long time, I really miss him. Qin Yutong immediately hugged Dong Huangli, while Ali kissed Qin Yutong, then hugged her tightly. This was the warmth of family. However, the big brother who was standing at the side was trembling in fear. The great demon king Dong Huangli actually has such a side to her. This is definitely a fake Dong Huangli, let's just leave. That God Yi's gaze is so scary. Right now, God Yi is like Dong Huangli's bodyguard. Whoever dares to look at her sister will receive a death stare. Look again. I'll cut you in half. God Yi, let Ant hug you. Qin Yutong laughed. God Yi took a step back. Ant is very scary. However, Qin Yutong didn't care about that. She just liked God Yi's cold look, it was much more fun than Yi Yan. Therefore, Qin Yutong hugged God Yi and kissed him on his cheek. This made the cold God Yi's face immediately turn red. Io, our little handsome brother's face is turning red. Tell Ant, did you flirt with this big sister? Qin Yutong carried the two children and walked into the courtyard. God Yi said softly, I'm not interested in women. Qin Yutong was speechless. This is not good news. God Yi is actually not interested in women, oh my God. God Yi, this won't do. Your father said that you must bring your wife when you go back in the future. If you don't bring your wife, you are not allowed to go back. God Yi frowned. Really? Of course it's true. When has my aunt ever lied? What about them? They are all the same. Qin Yutong said nonsense. Doesn't Dong Huangli know that this little ant is definitely lying? How can it be possible for her father to say such a thing? However, God Yi believed it. However, when they returned, God Yi was the only one with a woman among the four siblings. It was an awkward scene. Of course, that was 10 years later. From then on, God Yi no longer believed in his little aunt. She was simply a big liar. Did Mom and Dad come? Dong Huangli asked curiously. It would have been fine if Qin Yutong didn't come. After all, the moment she came, she immediately missed her mom and dad. Qin Yutong patted off the dust that was on Dong Huangli's face. I didn't, but other people came. Is that so? Who is it? We will know once we enter the house and take a look. Qin Yutong said with a slight smile. Dong Huangli jumped down from Qin Yutong's embrace, then directly ran into the house. Then he heard laughter coming from inside. Dong Huangli, Yi Zizi, and Kai Yin were quite familiar with each other. Because their body sizes were about the same, they were able to play together. On the other hand, Brett and Yuhua rarely came into contact with each other. Although they were father's subordinates, they would normally stay at home. Other than meetings, they would not be able to see each other at all. Qin Yutong held onto God Yi's hand and walked into the house. However, God Yi had a gloomy look on his face. I am no longer a child. There is no need for me to hold on to my hand like this. However, in Qin Yutong's eyes, God Yi was just a child. This was the first time Yang Haoyan and Ren Yao saw these two children. Because these savage women seem to dote on these two children a lot, this is truly shameful. Whose children are they? Are they really that awesome? Aunt Brett, let me tell you a piece of good news. Dong Huangli said with a smile. Ali, what good news? Did you find a boyfriend? Brett said with a light smile. Dong Huangli pouted her mouth. What boyfriend? They are all trash. Not a single one of them caught my eye. Oh, what good news is that? Hee hee, I've invented a type of medicinal pill that can treat infertility. Dong Huangli was very proud of herself. It seems like all of my dad's subordinates are infertile. Just look at Aunt Zishan. She just wanted to have a child, but after so many years, she is still unable to get pregnant. How pitiful. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but giggle. Such a big child already knew about infertility. However, after Yu Hua and Brett heard this, their expressions were a little strange. Yu Hua and Lai Gu had been together for a very long time. Yu Hua also wanted to have a child, but she couldn't get pregnant. Could it be that there was a problem with the genes? But his honor is also one of the undead race. If his honor and his honor's wife can give birth to a child, then why can't I and Lai Gu? Brett was worried that after Absolute Heaven returned to his human form, he would be unable to conceive as well. After all, the trend of infertility had already spread throughout the team. Even his honor wasn't able to find the cause of the problem, and expressed that there was nothing he could do about it. Which woman didn't want to have children? So this problem must be solved. Right now, when he heard that Dong Huangli had actually found the reason, he would definitely be filled with expectations. Don't think that Dong Huangli is young and immature. Brett and Yu Hua definitely believed in Dong Huangli's words. Ali, have you concocted it? Yu Hua hurriedly asked. Dong Huangli could be seen taking out a red bottle, then said with a smile, I have already concocted 3 pills, but due to the lack of materials, I failed many times and was scolded by everyone. They said that I am going to destroy the entire Jade Vein Peak. Godyi couldn't help but say, Big sister, if you continue concocting it, it is indeed going to be destroyed. Aya, you dare to say that to your big sister? Is it because your little aunt is here that you think that you are awesome? Stretch out your hand. Dong Huangli immediately acted like a big sister. Godyi was still very obedient and stretched out his hand. Dong Huangli slapped onto Godyi a small white hand. Looking at the pair of siblings, Qing Yutong laughed. Seems like their relationship is getting better and better. There is nothing wrong with brother-in-law's arrangement. One must know that in the past, Dong Huangli and Godyi rarely spoke to each other. They didn't even seem like biological siblings at all. Look at them now. This is what siblings should be. If Godyi were to wear women's clothing, he would also be a great beauty. His skin is very good, and he has inherited it from the Empress. Dong Huangli passed the small bottle that was in her hand to Brett, then said sweetly, These 3 pills will definitely be effective, but I have yet to test it. Everyone. Due to the explosion that happened just now, Brett and Yu Hua didn't dare to test it. Let's just try it as a last resort. I guarantee that there won't be any side effects after eating it. Who knows, I might even be able to conceive a child. What Dong Huangli said wasn't wrong. Chapter 939. Omega 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 Omega, choking with sobs. Navuyuehua was not afraid. She would know after trying. Oh, that's right, this medicine is for men to eat. Dong Huangli said solemnly. Godyi said nothing. Everyone. Yang Haoyin and Ren Yao felt that their men were all too weak. If not, why would they still have to take medicine? Life must be uncomfortable. However, is the medicine that Dong Huangli made really normal medicine? Hearing that the medicine was for men, she was relieved. Auntie, why do you have time to come over this time? He must have come to see Ali on the way. Moreover, there are so many of them at once. He must have been punished by father. Everyone was speechless. You guessed it right. However, Yang Haoyin and Ren Yao were shocked. Father? He was punished by his father. These horrible women were punished by this child's father. What kind of person was this father? He could actually punish them. He wasn't human at all. Qing Yutong laughed coquettishly. This matter, it's a long story. During this period of time, a lot of things happened. Upon hearing that, Dong Huangli became depressed. Why is it that the moment I leave, there will be something fun to play with? This is so boring. Haha, Ali has to grow up quickly. When the time comes, Auntie will take you to have fun. Who are these two? I have never seen you before. Dong Huangli said while looking at Ren Yao and Yang Haotian. Qing Yutong said with a smile. These two are awesome, this handsome guy is wooing Zizi. Are you actually like Lolis, so perverted? Dong Huangli said while looking at Yang Haotian. As expected, All uncles like Lolis so evil. The corner of Yi Zizi's mouth twitched. She wished she could pinch Yang Haoyan to death. She had lost all her face because of him. Yang Haoyan actually wanted to explain that he didn't like the loli, he liked the red packet on her butt. Who would like a loli for no reason? He must be crazy. Moreover, this was a violent Lolita. He could not afford to offend her. What about this bald-headed uncle? Brett chuckled. This isn't Uncle Baldy. Could it be Aunt Baldy? Yuhua added. It's not a bald-headed auntie either. My God, what is that? Dong Huangli felt that her brain wasn't enough to process what was going on. Ren Yao was depressed. So what if I'm a neutral person? Did I offend you guys or something? How dare you guys look down on neutral people? I am a guardian. Ren Yao had to emphasize that she was a powerful guardian. Although it was a bit of a scam, at least her reputation was still here. Sounds like it's very powerful. He's actually a weakling, Yi Zizi said in a low voice. Ren Yao, this is too much of a blow to me. Be careful that I don't shut myself off. Oh right, little aunt. What are you guys doing here? Bring me along. Don't you think so, God Yi? I want to learn. God Yi said calmly, carrying out his ruthlessness to the very end. Dong Huangli immediately rolled her eyes. You only know how to cultivate. If it wasn't for me bringing you along to play, you would have already become a fool. Big sister is the one. What? Give me your hand. God Yi extended his hand obediently. Clap, clap. Qin Yutong shook her head, then said with a smile. Ali, the reason why we came here is naturally because of your father's arrangement. As for what it is, you should know, right? Dong Huangli immediately understood, then said with a strange evil smile. I understand. I really want to go and play with you guys. In a few days, I will be going to the inner sect with God Yi. Qin Yutong stroked onto Qin Yutong's hair. Not bad, you guys have improved once again. However, you guys need to be clear about your identities. Dong Huangli and God Yi nodded their heads seriously. My identity is to take revenge for my father, that's all. I won't add any other emotions. Alright, Aunt won't disturb you guys anymore. In case others get suspicious, we'll be leaving first. Hearing that Qin Yutong was leaving, Dong Huangli and God Yi revealed a look of reluctance. After all, they were all children. Even the cold God Yi hugged onto Qin Yutong. The two of you have to properly take care of each other. That way, Mom and Dad will be more at ease. Qin Yutong patted onto the two little fellows' heads and said gently, I will take good care of Big Sister. It's fine as long as you don't cause trouble for Big Sister. Dong Huangli rolled her eyes at her little brother. Qin Yutong feels that the next time she sees the two of them, they will most likely be good siblings. Brother-in-law's method is quite useful. Alright, you guys can leave first. If you don't leave, we won't be able to bear it. Dong Huangli said with a slightly choked voice. These two little fellows are truly pitiful. When others are already this big, they are still acting coquettishly beside their parents. Yet they have to stay here to complete their mission and receive training. Qin Yutong squatted down and kissed the two of them. Aunt is leaving now, you two have to be obedient. Qin Yutong let out a breath, then walked out of the room. The two children in the room said their goodbyes to the others, then went down the mountain. On the other hand, Qin Yutong was a bit sad. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have come to see the two little fellows. Looking at Aunt leaving, Dong Huangli and God Yi were a bit hesitant. After a long while, Dong Huangli took a deep breath. I'm going to concoct medicine. Big sister, you are not concocting medicine. You are trying to destroy the entire Jade Vein Peak, right? Dong Huangli patted on her little brother's head. What do you know? I am investing in research. Of course there is a risk. After all, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. Don't you know this logic? That medicine that you concocted, it even scared the Peak Lord's mount to the point of paralysis. That little guy is too gutsy. Didn't he just vomit for a month? That's the side effect of research. Oh right, recently Big Sister concocted a new medicine. Can you test it for me? I suddenly forgot that the door was not closed. Big Sister, I'll be leaving first. After finished speaking, God Yi ran off and disappeared. Godyi still remembered that the first time he was tricked by his big sister, he ended up having diarrhea for 3 days and 3 nights. That feeling was even worse than death. Big sister said that she concocted an anti-diarrhea medicine, but I was tricked again. That is called anti-diarrhea medicine? That is probably an enhanced version of a laxative. Originally, I was about to recover, but in the end, I ended up having diarrhea for 7 days and 7 nights. Furthermore, that medicine is very miraculous, the kind that is unable to cure diarrhea. In the end, Big Sister came back with another medicine, and even guaranteed that it will be effective this time. If I, Godyi, were to be tricked again, I would be embarrassing my father. That's why I let Big Sister try it. Unexpectedly, Big Sister stuffed the medicine into my mouth without saying anything. This time, I, Godyi, believed it, and stuffed one into my mouth as well. However, the toilet had another person squatting in it. If I, Godyi, were to die in the future, I will definitely die in Big Sister's hands. If Big Sister were to die in the future, I will definitely poison her to death. However, from then on, Big Sister no longer took my medicine, and would instead look for people to test the medicine. In the beginning, there were still a lot of people who were willing, and some even queued up to try the medicine. However, a month later, the disciples came to a realization. Baidu search 081 Chinese website yen. Chapter 940. Translation. However, a month later, the disciples came to their senses. Life is precious, don't joke around. Since there was no one to test the medicine, Sister went to find animals to test the medicine. The most miserable was the Peak Lord's mount. Although it was not a high-grade mount, it was still a powerful species. That ferocious aura made people tremble. In the end, Sister turned that ferocious mount into a little lamb. The Peak Lord wanted to die. He wished he could ask the sect master to take Donghuang Li and him away. Sister is already addicted to medicine. If she doesn't do medicine for a day, she will feel itchy all over. That kind of cauldron explosion happens every day. I'm really worried that Sister will blow up the entire Jade Vein Peak one day. Compared to Sister's achievements, he was much better. All he did was find someone to train with. Unfortunately, there was no one to train with him now. Sister didn't train with him either. This made me, Godyi, fight with my left hand. I wonder what Yilu is doing. Is she the same as me? This was the loneliness of being an expert. It was just like that saying. Being invincible is lonely. When he thought of the other task his father gave him, Godyi felt a headache. Find a girlfriend to bring home? I, Godyi, don't have time to fall in love. How is a girlfriend more important than training? If I find a girlfriend like Sister, won't I be annoyed to death? Fortunately, it's still early. I don't have time to think about girlfriends. I'm looking forward to the battle with my sister. When the time comes, I will represent Broken Pulse Sect, and my sister will represent Shen Institution. I'll see how her training is going. At that moment, Godyi was thirsty. I still have to challenge my father in the future. I, Godyi, want to surpass my father, and take up the responsibility of protecting my family. Godyi had a great ambition. Donghuang Li also had a great ambition. That was to concoct a super pill. After eating it, one would become invincible. This was just the beginning. However, Yi Yan, who was far away in Shen Institution, also had a great ambition. That was to become a musician. A musician who plays the flute. Shen Institution was actually slightly smaller than Broken Pulse Sect. It did not have such a large territory. However, because it was smaller, the admission requirements were stricter. Some people could not get in no matter how hard they tried. In Minglan Principality, Shen Institution occupied 3/5 of the area. However, Minglan Principality was much larger than Wushu Empire. It was the largest duchy in the entire Kangluo continent. Every day, people from the Kangluo continent would come to experience the splendor of the deity institution. Similarly, deity institution was divided into the inner courtyard and outer courtyard. The inner courtyard was at the heart, while the outer courtyard surrounded the inner courtyard. But there were also many branches in the outer court, and there were countless of them. But in one of the branches, everyone was suffering because they really wanted to die. I haven't slept well for a few months. That damn Yen, can you stop playing the flute? Are you trying to blow us to death? If you didn't have a powerful sister, I'm sure we would beat the shit out of you. However, at this time, Yen was walking in the branch with a pace that didn't recognize anyone. He even had a black flute at his waist. Everyone clenched their fists, wishing they could put a sack on him and beat him to sh*t. However, when they saw the girl behind her, everyone immediately dispelled this terrifying thought. Actually, no one dared to do so, because the headmaster had taken a fancy to these two, and it was said that they would soon become the headmaster's disciples. That was a supreme being. Who would dare to provoke them? These were two little devils. Yen walked with a pace that didn't recognize anyone, while Yi Lu coldly followed behind. Little sister, you have to protect Big Brother. If something happens to Big Brother, Mom will cry to death. Yi Yen grabbed Yi Lu's little hand and said with a sincere tone. Yi Lu narrowed her eyes. Big Brother, Mom and Dad asked you to take care of me and protect me. In the end, I'm the one protecting you and taking care of you. If I wasn't your little sister, Yi Yen patted Yi Lu's head. This action scared everyone. You actually dared to pat the head of a female devil. If you weren't the Big Brother, you would probably be chopped to death. Lu or Big Brother only has one little sister. We have the same mother. If you don't take care of Big Brother, who will? Big Brother still has to show off with you. Yi Lu suddenly revealed a cute smile. This made Yi Yan's body tremble. Big Brother. Damn, Yi Yan felt that he couldn't take it anymore. Lu, hurry up and change back. I can't stand you like this. Big Brother. I was wrong, okay? My little ancestor, I'll play a song for you, okay? Yi Lu immediately rolled her eyes. Big Brother could blow someone to death when he fought with them. Then Big Brother, can you spar with me? I beg you, Big Brother. Yi Lu pulled Yi Yan's arm and acted like a spoiled child. How could I, Yi Yan, be your sparring partner? You're so fierce at such a young age. As a Big Brother, can I really hit you? I'll let you hit me every time. When the surrounding people saw Yi Lu acting like a spoiled child, they finally felt that Yi Lu was like a normal person. This was the attitude that a girl should have. How cute. However, there was a demon hidden under this cute smile. Yi Lu had already fought all over the branch, and could not find anyone else. She had encountered the same problem as God Yi. However, Yi Lu felt that it was best if only her Big Brother could be her sparring partner. When the time came, she would represent Shin Academy and beat Brother God Yi up for bullying her when she was young. Lu, it's not convenient for Big Brother these few days. You know, boys have a few days every month. When the surrounding people heard this, they felt a bit dizzy. Especially some girls who heard it, their faces reddened. This Yi Yan was really a little hooligan. But such a cute little hooligan really made them like him. It had to be said that Yi Yan had the tendency to become a playboy. He already knew how to flirt at such a young age. What would happen when he grew up? Big Brother, you don't love your little sister anymore? Lu hates you. Yi Yan rolled his eyes. This Lu always did this. The problem was that he fell for it. This was his own little sister. If he didn't dote on her, who would? Lu Big Brother was wrong. Don't be angry, okay? Yi Yan hurriedly coaxed with a helpless expression. Yi Lu was delighted. Of course she knew that her Big Brother loved her. After all, he was her Big Brother. I knew Big Brother was the best. Yi Lu tiptoed and kissed him. This made the surrounding boys envious. This was a kiss from a goddess. Although it was her Big Brother, they still felt unhappy and jealous. Yi Yan rubbed his cheek and said helplessly, Lu, you're not allowed to kiss Big Brother in the future. No, I just like kissing Big Brothers, Yi Lu said with a smile. I really have to give it to you. I'm really worried for my future brother-in-law. Big Brother, you should be worried for brother-in-law. Big Sister has a tendency to domestic violence. Yi Yan rubbed his chin, indicating that it was very likely. Big Sister was very violent. Baidu search 881 Chinese network. No advertising words. Chapter 941. Looking at the current Yi Yan and Yi Lu. This was the relationship that siblings should have. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua's arrangement was correct. I wonder what sister is doing now, And that ice lump, Yi Yan murmured. Yi Lu, who was at the side, became cold again. She only acted coquettishly to her own brother. Indeed, Yi Lu did not act coquettishly in front of God Yi. She only acted coquettishly in front of Yi Yan, because Yi Yan was her brother. Sister must be bullying brother God Yi, Yi Lu said indifferently. Yi Lu said faintly as he pulled Yi Yan towards the cultivation room. He was already a little impatient. Yi Yan sighed. God Yi is so pitiful. Fortunately, Dad was smart and let me team up with you. Otherwise, I would have been killed by sister. Now you know that sister is good. You ignored me in the past. I am my good Lu. Or why did brother ignore you in the past? It was you who didn't play with brother, and always hung out with God Yi. Yi Yan pouted. How could he say that he as a brother did not play with him? How heartless. Yi Lu smiled. Brother, I know I was wrong. I'll accompany brother more in the future. Yi Yan hugged his sister's shoulder. That's my good sister. Let's go. I'll let you practice. But I have to say, don't slap my face. I won't slap his face this time. I know you want to pick up girls. Hee, don't tell mom and dad. This is a little secret between us. I know. The siblings walked towards the training room under everyone's gaze. Then they both sighed. They mourned for the training room for a second. Because it was about to collapse. It would basically collapse once a month. These two were simply perverts. As the siblings walked into the training room, everyone had a panicked expression, especially those who were taught a lesson by Yi Lu. They immediately pretended not to see it. Yi Yan continued to walk without caring about anyone. Yi Lu returned to her normal expression. Acting coquettishly was not a normal expression. The two walked towards the dedicated training room. Yi Yan pushed open the heavy metal door. Shouts could be heard from inside. Another child of the same age was waving his fists. He looked very serious, and his face was covered in sweat. It's him again, Yi Yan muttered. Yi Lu replied calmly. The boy inside turned around to look at Yi Yan and Yi Lu. Of course he knew them. They were about to become the principal's final disciples. No one dared to provoke them. It could be said that they could do whatever they wanted in Deity Institution. But he refused to accept it. Why were they allowed to become the disciples of Jizun and not him? He slept later than them, got up earlier than them, and worked harder than them. As for that Yi Yan, he only knows how to use his flute to tease the female students every day. And that Yi Lu bullies people everywhere. How could the dean accept them as his final disciples? He must be blind. My forest city will definitely not lose to them. At that time, everyone will regret it. And those murderers who killed his family, none of them would be able to escape. Why don't we wait for him to finish? He looks pretty miserable. Yi Yan said softly. He also knew that Lin Cheng was very poor, not just a normal kind of poor. He basically ate buns every day and couldn't afford anything else. Yi Lu didn't object. On the contrary, he admired hard-working people. Although Lin Cheng was a little poor, he didn't lack ambition. He was famous for being hard-working. He heard that a teacher in the inner courtyard planned to take him as a disciple. In the future, he would be able to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, he was born at the finish line. There was nothing he could do about it. Who told him to have such an amazing father? Coming out of his mother's womb meant that he would be extraordinary in life. Since they planned to wait, the two of them sat at the side and waited. They chatted softly and didn't disturb other people's cultivation. Although this training was just to hit a wooden pole. Lin Cheng's fists were getting heavier and heavier. The two of them were actually sitting at the side and laughing at him. He would return this humiliation many times over in the future. Gotcha. Following Lin Cheng's angry punch, the wooden dummy was directly broken. A strange atmosphere floated in the empty cultivation room. Yi Yan felt that he should clap and praise him. So, Yi Yan started to clap. However, such applause was an even greater humiliation to Lin Cheng. He was actually laughing at him. Lin Cheng couldn't take it anymore. He suddenly pointed at Yi Yan and said, I want to fight you. Yi Yan, who was clapping, was stunned. He looked at his sister beside him. What did he say? He wants to fight you one-on-one. Yi Lu said calmly and didn't care at all. He was just asking to die. He overestimated himself. Yi Yan also felt that it was weird. Why did he want to fight him for no reason? Other people wouldn't fight him. Knowing his own strength, Yi Yan persuaded. It is best if you don't fight. You have trained for so long. Go and rest. Do you think it is beneath you to fight me? Are you looking down on me? Lin Cheng hollered. Brother, you should go. Yi Lu said calmly. Since he wanted to, then he should grant him his wish. In the future, he wouldn't bother him anymore. Yi Yan was helpless. He stood up and walked down. He stood not far from Lin Cheng. Lin Cheng clenched his fists tightly. His chest rose up and down like he was really angry. Yi Yan sensed it too. He didn't know why this fellow was angry. Did he have a crush on his sister? That was possible. However, Luer wouldn't like someone like him. Lin Cheng, just fight casually. Yi Yan, don't look down on me. You have to treat me seriously. Lin Cheng shouted with an immature voice. Yi Yan smiled bitterly. When did I look down on you? You must have misunderstood something. There is no misunderstanding between us. Come. Today, I will defeat you. Lin Cheng slightly leaned forward, his center of gravity between his legs. His left fist aimed at Yi Yan's forehead. His right fist was on his stomach. This was the simplest fist technique in Deity Institution. Of course, Yi Yan knew about it. He had learned it all because it was really simple. However, as for why Lin Cheng hated him so much, Yi Yan didn't understand. Was this the so-called unreasonable hatred of the rich? That was a bit unfair. He, Yi Yan, was a very polite man. He would never look down on others because of something. However, if some people really wanted to be stubborn, then he would look down on them. Then you can come. Yi Yan just stood there. He really couldn't raise any interest. This was just an ordinary person who didn't even have battle chi. He could poke him to death with one finger. Forget it, forget it. He should just pretend to be serious. Otherwise he would say that he, Yi Yan, was looking down on him again. Lin Cheng saw all of this. He was furious to the extreme. His body shook, and then he shouted angrily. Baidu search 881 Chinese network yen. Yen. Chapter 942. Translation The entire cultivation room was filled with Lin Cheng's angry roar. The entire cultivation room was filled with Lin Cheng's angry roar. That angry little fist directly landed on Yi Yan's chest. Lin Cheng was filled with excitement. He was finally going to defeat Yi Yan. He was going to let everyone know that he, Lin Cheng, could also defeat Yi Yan. He, Lin Cheng, could also become the final disciple of a supreme being. The idea was good, but the reality was very cruel. Yi Yan looked at the little fist on his chest. That fist was scraped because of striking the wooden pole. There were even traces of blood seeping out. It looked rather miserable. Should he put on an act at this moment? At any rate, Yi Yan was so hardworking. If he didn't react at all, what would he do if Yi Yan was defeated? Wouldn't he be the main culprit? Lin Cheng looked at Yi Yan, who seemed to be hesitating. He was very surprised. His fist had already landed on Yi Yan's chest, and this was his reaction. Ah. It hurts. It hurts. Yi Yan immediately took a step back and clutched his chest. Yi Lu, who was sitting at the side, chuckled. Big brother, you're really too much. You're even more of a blow, okay? Lin Cheng looked at Yi Yan clutching his chest as if he was about to die. His eyes seemed to be spewing fire. It clearly wasn't like this just now. You're an expert. I can't defeat you. Yi Yan clutched his chest and said in pain. He had put in a lot of effort and hoped that Lin Cheng could feel his concern. However, Lin Cheng didn't feel it at all. He pointed at Yi Yan and shouted. Are you still looking down on me? Bring out your true strength and fight with me. If I use my true strength, you'll be dead. The gap between us is destined to be a chasm, the kind that can't be crossed. Yi Lu heaved a sigh of relief and lightly leaped to the side. All right, don't waste time. Lin Cheng, go back and rest. No. I want to fight him. Lin Cheng looked at Yi Lu and was very unconvinced. You're not his match. Go back. Yi Lu persuaded again. Yi Yan stopped pretending and said to his sister, Luer, stop fooling around. Big brother, that's enough. We still have serious matters to attend to. Lin Cheng clenched his little fist. So it turned out that he wasn't serious at all. They were completely looking down on him. I for a city will prove it. In the future, you will kneel at my feet and repent for today's mistakes. I Lin Chung swear. He would definitely do it. The brother and sister looked at the little figure as he left, feeling helpless in their hearts. Lu, you're too much. Don't do this in the future. As the elder brother, Yi Yan still had to establish a good image. Yi Lu chuckled. Bro, that's what you call beating people up. If you directly knock him down, he'll understand how big the gap is, and he won't have any delusions. Sigh, if you don't have any illusions in life, then what's the difference between you and a salted fish? Brother, don't imitate Dad. You're not imposing at all. Yi Lu pouted, indicating that she didn't feel anything. You really don't have any imposing manner at all? Why can't I learn Dad's style? Yi Yan was so depressed. In this life, other than being a musician, the only other thing he wanted was to become a man like his father. Just by standing there, he would be able to suppress everyone. That kind of demeanor was so charming. Brother, you still need to practice, although it might not necessarily be effective. While speaking, Yi Lu walked to the front of Yi Yan. Luer, this is what you call beating people up. I will definitely be able to learn it. All right, let's start practicing. Yi Lu waved her hand, indicating that she was already prepared. Yi Yan nodded his head, then asked, what level of control? It'll be fine as long as it's not too exaggerated. All right. The two little fellows began fighting in the training room, causing tremors to ring out in the training room. Lin Chung, who was standing outside the training room, turned his head around and took a look at the training room, then turned around and left. Right now, it is still unknown who will win and who will lose. Perhaps, even Yi Hua didn't expect that the change between the two children would be so big. In the end, they are still related by blood. They are born from the same mother. However, right now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were regretting their decision. This shameless Yi Hua, I don't know if he is possessed or what, but he is simply like a tyrant, endlessly demanding things. We are truly unlucky to have met this kind of man. You said that you want to punish us. At least tell us what it is. What did we do wrong? We can change it in the future, alright? You didn't even tell us the main point, and you still want us to die. Divorce. I can't continue living like this anymore. That's what I thought in my heart, but that's what I thought in my body. So cool, so happy. Daji, who was guarding outside, had a face full of envy. During these few days, Master and Madam did not come out at all. I really want to go and help the Madam share the pain. Just as Daji was fantasizing, Luo Ho, who was holding onto a white fan, appeared at the door. Subordinate Luo Ho pays his respect to his honor. After Kai Yin and Yu Hua left, Luo Ho took over the management of all the matters in the city. Right now, he encountered a problem, and he wanted to seek his honor's opinion. Seeing that no one replied to him, Luo Ho, who had his head lowered, smiled towards Daji. Lady Daji, I'll have to trouble you to inform his honor. How could Daji go and disturb her master's mood? She said faintly. His honor is not free these few days. I really have an urgent matter to seek an audience with his honor, Luo Ho said pleadingly. This scene reminded one of those muddle-headed emperors. Loyal subjects would kowtow to the emperor and report an urgent matter to the emperor. But what about the emperor? Inside the room, he was having fun with a mermaid. This was the omen of a country being destroyed. His honor isn't free right now, Daji said faintly. Luo Ho didn't dare to barge in forcefully. After all, it wasn't a huge matter. It's just that recently there had been quite a lot of fights in the city. Originally, it was a very simple matter, but it was precisely because of the fights that happened that was the crux of the matter. Right now, within the city, there was a small portion that said that there were good people among the different races. In the end, those who hated the different races definitely didn't have a good expression on their faces, and then the hatred between the different races became bigger and bigger. In the end, they decided to just take action. If they were to take action, it would be terrible. A small fight every day, a big fight every 2 days, and a group fight every 3 days. Just who should be locked up? Right now, his honor advocates for peaceful coexistence. If you were to lock up the people who supported the different races, wouldn't that be making the people's hearts cold? If I were to lock up the people who hated the different races, wouldn't that be the same as supporting the different races? The problem is, right now isn't the right time yet. If I were to do that, a huge matter would definitely happen, and the consequences would be very serious. Thus, Luo Ho couldn't make up his mind. He wanted to ask His Honor how to deal with this matter. However, right now, His Honor was still hugging onto his two lovely wives and sleeping. After he woke up, he would continue to f***ck with them, and he wouldn't let go of them for at least a month. Who asked them to scold me for being trash? I, the Supreme Overlord, am someone who holds grudges. Lady Daji, if His Honor comes out, please inform me about it. All right. Daji said faintly. Where would I have the time to inform you about it? I am a woman who serves His Honor, and I am very busy. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yin. No advertisement words. Chapter 943. Luo Ho retreated helplessly. He was at a loss. What should he do? Should I go and look for Wei Chang? No matter what, Wei Chang is His Honor's #1 general, and I heard that Wei Chang is also very quick-witted. There should be a way to solve this matter. Soon Luo Ho arrived at Wei Chang's palace. The moment he entered, he saw Tang Wei taking care of the flowers and plants. She seemed to be in a good mood, and was even humming a tune. Luo Ho, you came. What's the matter? Tang Wei asked curiously. I am here to pay my respects to Wei Chang. Luo Ho cupped his hands and said. Tang Wei took the water bottle and said with a smile. Uncle Wei left the city today. It seems like he went to do something. Ah. What's the matter? Tang Wei curiously asked. Right now, Luo Ho also had the heart but not the strength, so he told Tang Wei what had happened. About this, you can ask Mu Ran. Uncle Wei said that Mu Ran is the scriptwriter this time. Tang Wei had a lot of information. After all, the person who was sleeping beside Wei Chang was Wei Chang. Wei Chang would always tell Tang Wei everything. Luo Ho closed his fan. All right, I'll go ask. After finished speaking, Luo Ho walked towards Mu Ran's palace. Such a big city, and you want me to manage it by myself? What is this? Arriving at Mu Ran's palace, Luo Ho looked inside and discovered that there were two figures on the pavilion, and they were currently kiss. Luo Ho was stunned. Sky Red. He hugged Mu Ran and kissed her. You don't do anything but hug girls and kiss them. I run around every day. There was also White Bones. He didn't know where he had run off to, and Guangsha also seemed to have disappeared. Cough, 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 cough. Luo Ho immediately coughed. What a good Song Kong Hong. You claim to have loved Yuehua for over 10,000 years, yet you had already fallen in love with someone else in just a few years. Most importantly, the other party was a petite girl. Did you have such strong tastes? The two people in the gazebo seemed to forget themselves, and only stopped when they heard the sound of coughing. Mu Ran blushed and quickly sat to the side. Song Kong Hong stood up and stood behind Mu Ran as if nothing had happened. As a competent bodyguard, he had to protect Mu Ran, both physically and mentally. Luo Ho was puzzled. Why did Mu Ran like Sky Red? That face. I'll have nightmares if I see it. Luo Ho, what are you doing here? Song Kong Hong asked. His tone was a little unfriendly, as though he was saying, how dare you disturb me? Luo Ho wanted to vomit blood. You're asking me what I'm doing here. Do you have the nerve to ask? I'm so King tired myself to death, and you're here playing with a little girl. If you have the ability, let's switch. Mu Ran, I have something to ask you. Luo Ho ignored Sky Red and asked Mu Ran directly. Yes. Mu Ran blushed. It was too awkward just now. Why did someone suddenly steal her first kiss? Luo Ho recounted everything that had happened. After hearing this, Mu Ran gradually became serious. She had considered this kind of thing before, but she hadn't thought of a way to deal with it because it was very tricky. What does the Emperor think? Mu Ran asked curiously. Luo Ho said gloomily, I just went to see His Majesty but I couldn't see him. What is the Emperor doing? Mu Ran felt that the Emperor was still very concerned. How could he not see such a big event? Luo Ho didn't know what to say. Of course, the Emperor was punishing the Empress. That day, the Empress had scolded him countless times. How could the Emperor take it? The emperor is also busy. In any case, he can't see him. Do you have any other ideas? If there is, I will carry it out. Muran stood up and rubbed her chin as she paced back and forth. It seemed like she could only think of a way herself. Right, how many people support the alien race? Those who just entered the city. There aren't many of them, less than 1,000. Only so little? This is indeed a little difficult. Muran sighed. Right now, the population of Wushu Empire was close to 200,000, but only 1,000 people supported the alien race. It was too little, pitifully little. So, what should we do now? Right now, many people are waiting for the officials to give a reply. They want us to kill those who support the alien race. We definitely can't kill them. It wasn't easy for us to obtain the support of 1,000 people. Muran said in a low voice as she frowned. Luoho also knew that they couldn't kill them. He said helplessly, "There are already people protesting. If this continues, it won't do. There are even people who are secretly causing trouble and causing destruction. These people who are causing destruction must be captured and punished. As for the leaders of both sides, capture them and lock them up for a few days. Count this as our Wushu Empire's attitude. Don't make a big deal out of this." Luoho understood what Muran meant. Give both sides a slap in the face and let them know their place. Alright, that's fine. Let's do this for now. We will make further plans after the emperor comes out. Before Luoho left, he glared at Song Konghong. What a lazy person. Luoho directly walked out of the palace. This matter had caused him to be in a terrible state. The main point was that no one came to help him. With the banner leader here, the others wouldn't dare to disobey. After Luoho walked out of the palace, he brought over 10 yellow armored warriors to the west of the city. Because the west of the city was the location of the riot, and the riot was getting fiercer and fiercer. Looks like I have to use some iron-blooded methods this time. These people are simply too bored to do anything. Walking into the street of the west of the city, Luoho's brows furrowed. The middle of the street was filled with trash. Rotten eggs, vegetable leaves. It was as if there had just been a criminal parade. However, not far away, over 100 people were gathered and smashing shops. F*CK smash. These bastards who are speaking good things about the other races. My mother was killed by the other races. These people aren't fit to be humans, they should be sent to hell. That's right, my entire family was killed by the other races. These trash people, killing them is also for the sake of fairness. Smash, the bastards inside, listen up, if you still don't open the door, I will set the shop on fire. Luoho walked over with a sunken face and shouted, "All of you stop." With such a shout, everyone's scalp turned numb. They turned their heads and took a look, then immediately knelt down. "Greetings, Lord Luo. Are you all trying to cause trouble in Wushu Empire? After causing trouble for a few days, you all still don't want to stop." Previously, Luoho had closed one eye because he couldn't solve the problem. "Lord Luo, these people deserve it." "That's right, Lord Luo. They are all protecting the other races." "Lord Luo, it can't be that Wushu Empire is also going to protect the other races, right? That is too disappointing. The other races are the natural enemies of us humans. Killing the other races is everyone's responsibility. Lord Luo, please uphold justice for us." Just when Luoho was preparing to say something, the door was suddenly opened, and an old man could be seen walking out. He pointed at everyone and scolded, "You bunch of heartless people, there are also good and bad races, and you all are the bad people among humans." Chapter 944. Old man. Don't force me to attack you. Even if you kill one of me, there are still thousands of me. Motherf ****, old man, you asked for it. Brothers, take out your weapons and attack. Luoho was also angered. He actually treated him as thin air. He simply had no respect for the law. Capture all the troublemakers. Luoho bellowed. The yellow-armored warrior standing behind him stood up and shouted, "Yes." Maybe it was because the Voidless Empire gave people a feeling that it was too comfortable. In fact, there was even a misconception that even if they were to cause trouble, nothing would happen to them. That was why these people dared to resist. You people, don't touch me. You can't afford it. Why are the people from Voidless Empire so barbaric? Don't touch me. Don't be afraid, everyone. If they dare to fight, we dare to fight back. Kill them. Luoho was a little dumbfounded. These people actually rebelled. What was he supposed to do? Should I kill them on the spot or capture them all? Luoho was just a subordinate. It was fine for him to kill people, but it was not his forte to let him manage. On this matter, Luoho was a little indecisive. He was unable to make the right choice and was indecisive. If Kai Yun was here, he would have directly killed him. He actually dared to go against Voidless Empire. No one's face was useful. I'm afraid you don't know where you're standing. You're too full of yourself. However, Luoho was not Kai Yun. He lacked a sense of leadership. Even now, he was still hesitating. He was afraid that he would do something wrong and get scolded by his honor. As a result, more than 10 yellow-armored warriors did not receive orders and were being beaten up. However, this scene was seen by many people. They never expected that the inspection team in the city would be beaten up. No one dared to believe what was happening in front of them. The more they fought, the more excited they became. These yellow-armored warriors did not fight back, as if they were afraid of them, so they were not worried at all. Everyone, let's fight. These people won't dare to do anything to us. Haha, this feels great. I actually beat up an inspector today. Damn it, I used to be scared to death when I saw these yellow-armored warriors. So they're all cowards. That's right, it feels so good. That's all there is to it. Beat him up. Luoho had yet to react. This was the first time since the opening of the city. This was the first time a guard had been beaten, and it could be recorded in the annals of history. The forest was big, and there were all kinds of birds. There was no shortage of idle people, rich second-generation heirs, or rich second-generation heirs who came to the city from outside. Luoho's expression tightened as he yelled, "Capture them all!" With Luoho's order, the yellow-armored warrior immediately exploded with a wave of pressure. Over 100 people were immediately flipped over, falling to the ground and howling in pain. There was even an unlucky one who was sent flying into a tree branch. His chest was pierced and he hung there. The onlookers were shocked. Someone had died. This was the first time a dead person had appeared in Voidless Empire. Luoho was also a little stunned. Someone actually died. F***ck me. I didn't expect that the first drop of blood from Voidless Empire would be me, Luoho. Master Hong. Master Hong. Master Hong. A few young men climbed up and shouted at the young man on the tree branch. Their faces were filled with panic. However, at that moment, a large group of yellow-armored warriors appeared. Bring them back. Luoho shouted coldly. Yes. This time around, no one dared to act rashly anymore. However, there was still no problem with talking. You all are finished. That is Master Hong, the son of Voidless Empire's #1 nouveau riche. F***ck. I am the son of Voidless Empire's #2 nouveau riche. Try and capture me. My dad is the president of the business association. You all cannot capture me. My dad is the president of the agriculture association. My dad is the director of the real estate bureau. I am going to sue you all for beating people up. Your Voidless Empire is actually helping this group of bastards. Are you all siding with the aliens as well? The aliens are the enemies of us humans. Luoho was already driven mad by these people. He shouted out angrily, "Bring them back and whip them." Yes. Under the escort of the yellow-armored warriors, over 100 people were sent to the inspection manor, and all of them were brought into the underground prison. After that, the sounds of people crying for their fathers and mothers could be heard. Luoho sat in the front hall with a very annoyed look on his face. This is different from the plan. Originally, I was going to capture one person from each side, but now, I directly captured all of them. Some of these people are even the children of some important figures, and the development of Voidless Empire is inseparable from their contributions. F***ck. Luoho felt that his brain was not enough to comprehend what was going on. It seems like I have caused a huge disaster. That young Master Hong, who seems to be the son of the #1 nouveau riche, was directly hung on a tree and died. And these young masters and whatnot. Luoho held on to his forehead. I am not cut out to be a leader. You all went out to play, and you all just threw this terrible mess to me, so annoying. Just as Luoho was facing the wall, the sound of drumming could be heard coming from outside. This is the first time someone is beating the drum outside the inspection manor. I, Luoho, have already taken a lot of lives from Voidless Empire. Reporting, Hong Batian is beating the drum outside. Luoho was a bit puzzled. Who is Hong Batian? Replying to Lord Luo, Hong Batian is the richest person in Voidless Empire. And his son is the one who was hung on a tree and died. The corner of Luoho's mouth twitched. Right after I finished thinking about it, it came. This is really not letting me rest. Soon after, Luoho sat on the stage, then waved his hand. Hong Batian could be seen walking in. However, in Luoho's mind, Hong Batian should be a tall and sturdy man. However, this Hong Batian is a dwarf. To be more precise, he is a dwarf. The problem is, his son seems to be quite tall. Could it be, however, behind Hong Batian, there were a few people following behind him. Although Luoho didn't recognize them, he could see that there were two people who were wearing official robes. In Voidless Empire, although there were people who were wearing official robes, it didn't mean that they had been to the palace before. Therefore, most of the matters were handled after the documents were passed down. None of them had seen the emperor before. When Luoho saw this group of people rushing over angrily, he knew that nothing good was going to happen. Lord Luo! Hong Batian cupped his hands and shouted out, not giving face to Luoho at all. As the richest person in Voidless Empire, Hong Batian was the king of taxes, and he was the kind of person who had contributed to the economy of the entire Voidless Empire. Therefore, Hong Batian felt that the reason why Voidless Empire was able to have its current achievements was because of him. However, there was someone who told him that his son died in the hands of the city's guards, and it was the kind of death where his son was hung on a tree. How can I swallow this? Luoho squinted his eyes and looked at the group of people below him. What are you all doing here? Hong Batian didn't fear Luoho in the slightest and said gravely, Lord Luo, you should know why we are here, right? My son was killed by your guards. Their son was captured by your guards. May I ask, just what crime did our son commit to be treated like this? Chapter 945. Omega Bomega Bomega Bomega, choking with sobs. Novel faced with Hong Batian's questioning, Luoho said coldly, the crime of assaulting a city guard. Beating up the city guards. Master Luo, why did I hear others say that it was the guards who beat him up, and that my son was merely defending himself? Hong Batian's words were echoed by some of the people behind him, and it seemed like they were about to rebel. Luoho was a little out of sorts today. If he could, he really wanted to kill all of them. But could these people be killed? The reason why Voidless Empire was able to prosper today was all because of their hard work. Voidless Empire was created by Yi Hua and his subordinates. However, not everything was done by Yi Hua and his subordinates. Most of the things were done by Yi Hua and his subordinates. Only when there were things that Yi Hua and his subordinates were unable to solve would Yi Hua utilize his subordinates. However, the current subordinates of Voidless Empire were just idling around. After all, Voidless Empire's ecology had already been arranged, and they only needed time to settle down. They were the first batch of people to contribute. Right now, his honor is advocating love, respect, and peace, and Luoho is completely unable to make the decision. In Hong Batian's eyes, Luoho, who couldn't make decisions, was even easier to bully. It was as if he didn't dare to do anything to them. Lord Luo, my son has been beaten to death by the guards. How are we going to explain this? Also, what did Lord Luo mean by protecting the supporters? Could it be that Lord Luo wanted to go against the will of the heavens and support the foreign races? If this matter was reported to the emperor, he would definitely not be able to escape. I'm afraid. Hong Batian was indeed worthy of being the richest man in the world. He actually made Luoho speechless. It was like making something out of nothing. Since when did he support the supporters? But today's situation seemed to have been caused by the arrest of those who opposed him. Luoho did not know what to do. By doing this, does this count as messing up his honor's plan? I'm done for. I'm definitely done for. Master Luo, give justice to my son. Give justice to the world. With that, Hong Batian knelt down. The people behind him did the same. They shouted in unison, Lord Luo, give justice to my son. Give justice to the world. Luo Ho took a deep breath. Now that they had captured them, would they let them go the moment they came in? Then where would Voidless Empire's face be? Could some rich people just take people away like that? Therefore, they definitely couldn't let him go. These people will be detained for 15 days. You can all leave. Luo Ho said in a low voice. He didn't want to bother anymore. Why wasn't the flag owner back yet? She loved playing this game the most. What? 15 days. Lord Luo, you're actually detaining humans for the sake of those foreign races. Master Luo, think twice before you act. Lord Luo, what about my son who died in vain? Hong Batian bellowed. F***CK. What does your son's death have to do with me? You actually came here to ask for an explanation. Do you believe that I won't kill you as well? Luo Ho shouted coldly. This lord needs to rest, please leave. The yellow-armored warriors standing around chased everyone away. However, these people became even more insolent. I want to see the emperor. I want to file a complaint. Luo Ho is in cahoots with the outsiders. Luo Ho, who was sitting inside, wished that he could kill them all. This group of flies that didn't care about their lives should be killed by him, and then soaked in the septic tank for the rest of their lives. Luo Ho didn't even know who to look for. He was at a loss and things seemed to be getting out of control. It was indeed a little out of control. After Hong Batian returned, he immediately bought people to spread the news in Voidless Empire. Things like Luo Ho colluding with the outsiders, killing humans, etc. However, when the supporters heard Luo Ho's actions, they all cheered. This undoubtedly hammered Luo Ho's confidence. One day later, even more ferocious things came. Wandering. 10,000 people actually appeared wandering in the city, holding up banners and protesting. There were even over 100 people sitting quietly in front of the palace, and there were even some who were having sex. Luo Ho was completely flustered, and he hurriedly ran into the palace to look for Mu Ran. When Mu Ran heard Luo Ho's words, she nearly fainted. She originally wanted to slowly change the image of the outsiders in everyone's hearts, but now, not only did it not change, it became even more profound. Even if she, the fake saintess, personally came out, it was useless. Moreover, the tens of thousands of people protesting in the city was undoubtedly slapping Voidless Empire's face, and those sit-ins were also forcing the emperor to make an appearance. Everything was a blow to Voidless Empire. Luo Ho was bewildered. Where did Wei Chong, Whitebones Quang Sha, and the others go? So he went to pull some strings, and the strings he pulled were the outsiders. After all, he had to put on a show in front of both sides. However, right now the problem was very serious, and it threatened the foundation of the outsiders. After Wei Chong received the voice transmission, he immediately rushed back. After all, the problem was very serious. A group of subordinates held a meeting without his honor present. Mu Ran naturally couldn't participate in the meeting. She still didn't know Wei Chong and Tang Wei's true identity. Since his honor wasn't present, Wei Chong was in charge of the overall situation. Forget about Lai Gu, he only knows how to fight and kill, just like Luo Ho. After hearing that, Wei Chong entered into contemplation, then rubbed his chin as he paced back and forth. Everyone looked at Wei Chong. However, Wei Chong said gravely, Do Fusher, do you have any good suggestions? Do Fusher, who was standing at the back, was dumbstruck. Why do you always have to look for me? If I do this kind of thing well, I would be able to receive his honor's praise. The problem is, everyone has no choice but to make me Do Fusher, the scapegoat. Why are you all so bad? Are you all planning to make me Do Fusher, the scapegoat? Li Han also looked at her husband with a pitiful expression. He was so pitiful. Not only was he being bullied at night, he was also being bullied by everyone during the day. Do Fusher shouted. This subordinate is ignorant. At the very least, it is better than being scolded by his honor. Wei Chong took a deep breath. Who else? No one made a sound. If there was a way, they wouldn't have called him back. It seems like we only have one way, Wei Chang said coldly. Lai Gu asked curiously, Wei Chang, what method is it? Your Honor, please open the door. Sure enough, this is a good idea. As long as His Honor is willing to come out from his closed-door seclusion, all of our problems will be solved. I agree. Lai Gu was the first to raise his hand. Rather than fooling around here, I might as well quickly ask His Honor to come out. All the subordinates agreed. The more people there are, the more power there is. All of them rushed towards Yi Hua's sleeping quarters with an expression that seemed as if they were facing death with equanimity. If I don't call His Honor out today, I will have to apologize with my death. Daji was a little surprised to see all these people running over. What were they going to do? Master was having sex with the madam. How can he be disturbed? Wei Chang looked at Daji, then cupped his hands and said, Lady Daji, I have an important matter to report to His Honor. May I trouble you to report to His Honor? His Honor is very busy right now, I can't. Daji said indifferently. Sometimes, when His Majesty is unable to see, there is also eunuch reason. Because the eunuch doesn't allow it. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 946. Wei Chang also tried to use sound transmission, but His Honor seemed to have turned off the function. There was no response at all. Seems like His Honor is very angry this time. Who asked your wife to call me trash so many times? It would be weird if His Honor didn't flip out. But now, I have no choice but to disturb His Honor. Lady Daji, there is truly an urgent matter that concerns the safety of the entire Wushu Empire. Please make an exception. Wei Chang said with a pleading tone. Although this Daji is just a maid, her appearance is so flirtatious. She might even become His Honor's wife in the future. His Honor is also nurturing her. Daji's duty is to protect her master. Other matters have nothing to do with her. That's why she insisted on her own principles. No. The mouths of the subordinates twitched. This Daji is too stubborn, right? If His Honor continues to play inside for another month, Wushu Empire would probably be in complete chaos. Wei Chang slowly raised his head, and his gaze became strange. Lady Daji, my temper isn't as good as you think it is. Following Wei Chang's words, everyone's gaze changed. What is Uncle Wei planning to do? Is he going to get serious right in front of His Honor's door? My God, this is too terrifying. Daji has never been afraid of others' provocations, even if it was her master's subordinates. I'll tell you then. My temper isn't as good as you think it is. You want to see Master today. Unless you defeat me. Daji slowly walked out of the barrier that she set up. This was a type of soundproof barrier, and it was very sturdy when used by Daji. Everyone was astonished. Were they going to start fighting? Wei Chang versus Daji? This is too explosive, right? Everyone swallowed their saliva, feeling that they should go and prepare some small stools, melon seeds, betel nuts, and mineral water. Then, they should observe whether or not this awesome fight would destroy the entire Wushu Empire. When His Honor woke up and realized that he was standing on an empty prairie, I wonder what His Honor's expression will be like. All of the subordinates retreated, leaving an empty space for the two to fight. To be honest, other than the 7 deadly sins, the others had never seen Wei Chang fight before, and they had never seen Daji fight before. However, since Daji dares to talk back to Wei Chang like this, she must have some skills. After all, Daji is His Honor's servant. How can she not have some strength? And looking at his aura, he was even more awesome than Wei Chang. If Wei Chang were to lose today, he would be making a fool of himself. Will Wei Chang lose? In Wei Chang's heart, other than His Honor, no one can defeat him. Lady Daji, let me ask you one more time. Can you help us report to His Honor? Wei Chang asked gravely. Daji also replied coldly, no. All right. Then don't blame me. Then come and give it a try. Daji's expression turned cold, and a terrifying aura gradually appeared around her. Sensing this aura, the expressions of the subordinates changed slightly. This Daji still had some weight. Wei Chang was not to be outdone. A powerful pressure rushed towards Daji. The black fog was like a giant crocodile with its mouth wide open, ready to devour Daji at any time. Daji is an orange card, the strongest existence in the system. And she lost just like that. Isn't that a little too easy? Daji's original form was a nine-tailed fox, so Daji was also considered an alien. Around Daji's delicate body, a white fighting aura emerged, forming a huge fox face on top of Daji's head. She did not panic at all when facing the giant crocodile. She even grinned and let out a low roar. The animals that were formed from the two auras actually let out roars. This caused the subordinates to exclaim in admiration. This is what a battle between experts should be like. Just the aura alone is enough to make a comparison. Truly formidable. Wei Chang's wrists could be seen moving closer. When his wrists moved closer, a huge pressure was produced, and that black giant crocodile actually completely fused into Wei Chang's hands. Meanwhile, Wei Chang's hands slowly moved onto the right side of his waist. His body rapidly expanded, and a huge aura revolved around his body. Looking at this scene, Yihong said in a low voice, "I seem to have seen this kind of action somewhere before." LV Liang frowned. "That's right, I seem to have seen it somewhere before as well." However, the blood demon suddenly said, "This is a move from Dragon Ball." Everyone was startled upon hearing that. This blood demon actually reads Dragon Ball? However, looking at Wei Chang's actions, everyone felt that this is plagiarism. In the end, actions are only actions. All of these are just casual actions. And Wei Chang is just doing it casually to liven up the atmosphere. Tortoise. Wei Chang shouted out the first word, and both of his hands were immediately wrapped by a black energy ball. This terrifying might was reckoned to be able to blow Wushu Empire into pieces. Pi. When the second word sounded out, the sturdy rock beneath Wei Chang's feet instantly turned into powder, and a ferocious astral wind began forming. When the third word sounded out, traces of electric currents could actually be seen coming out from the black energy ball on Wei Chang's hands. Do Fusher exclaimed in admiration. "This is at least a Super 7 Kamehameha. Uncle Wei is indeed formidable." Gong. When the fourth word sounded out, the entire sky turned black, and the sunlight was blocked out, making the entire sky look like night. Poof. Wei Chang could be seen pushing his hands forward, and a terrifying aura that carried along a destructive aura rushed towards Daji. Wei Chang was very afraid that Daji would be devoured by this energy. Wei Chang is actually so heavy-handed towards a little sister, as expected, he is so perverted. Daji snorted coldly as she pushed her hands forward. The Do Chi that was on her body was instantly absorbed into her hands, and a white halo appeared on her pair of tender hands. Then she shouted out, "Tortoise! Pi!" Everyone looked at Daji blankly. "You are actually learning from Wei Chang. This isn't a good thing. Bring out your real skills." Wei Chang was a bit surprised. "This Daji is actually learning from me. This is a bit interesting." Gong. Bo. Daji could be seen pushing her hands forward, and a white energy ball shot out from her hands. The black and white energy ball collided with each other. And Do Fusher had a feeling that if these two energy balls were to collide with each other, half of Wushu Empire would definitely be gone. At this moment, Lai Gu naturally had to protect his honor by sealing off his honor's sleeping quarters. This way, even if the two of them were to fight against each other, it wouldn't matter. Boom. The two Kamehameha clashed with each other, just like two balls of black and white flour that were trying to collide with each other. This scene is pretty similar to the one in the manga. LV Liang said lightly. "That's right, it's pretty similar." Yihong expressed that the scene was already very similar. This Wei Chang is indeed Demon King Piccolo. Endless amounts of Do Chi were released from the two's hands, and the huge amount of light seemed to have illuminated the entire world. As long as one knows how to cultivate, one would be able to sense that huge amount of power. Is this a phenomenon that descended from the heavens? Right now, Wei Chang and Daji were relying on their Do Chi. There weren't any techniques involved in this, and this was completely dependent on their cultivation. Gradually, the black energy wave seemed to be about to devour the white energy wave. Chapter 947. The subordinates who were standing at the side watched very seriously. Uncle Wei's expression was very calm, while Daji's face seemed to be covered in sweat. From this, It could be seen that Daji's strength was weaker than Wei Chang. But to be able to fight against Wei Chang for so long, Daji was still honorable even though she lost. After all, in the entire team, Wei Chang's strength was one of the best. Even now, Wei Chang had not used his original body, but Daji didn't seem to have used her original body either. Daji felt Wei Chang's strength and was a little surprised. Master's subordinates are indeed powerful. But I am not someone to be trifled with. Daji shouted out, and a majestic chi surged out from her body. The white energy actually became much wider, pushing Wei Chang's black sphere back a little. Everyone gasped. This Daji actually had plans to hide her strength. As expected, she is terrifying. Who did she learn this from? Wei Chang laughed lightly. Daji, we serve the same person. I have no ill intentions. That won't do. Daji was very stubborn. No one is allowed to disturb his honor's rest, not even me. Wei Chang sighed lightly. There's no other way. The muscles on Wei Chang's body swelled up a bit, and the black light became even stronger, actually becoming one size bigger. This caused Daji's heart to sink. This is already my limit, but as for the other party, whether or not he is also his limit, I have no idea. But even if I don't know, I can be sure that he is indeed stronger than me. Daji, the victor has been decided. Go and report to his honor. Wei Chang said solemnly. No. Everyone. This Daji is truly adorable, and she is also very loyal and devoted to his honor. Although Daji is going to lose, this loyalty of hers has obtained everyone's affirmation, because there is nothing more important than loyalty. For his honor to be able to obtain such a servant, it is also a kind of fortune. Wei Chang had no other way. Could it be that he really injured Daji? She might be his honor's wife in the future. Thus, Wei Chang swung his hands, and the black light moved at a strange angle to avoid Daji. Even if he dodged it, the shockwave still sent Daji flying. Her back smashed onto the barrier, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. However, Wei Chang controlled the black light and smashed it towards the barrier set by Daji, seemingly wanting to use this method to wake his honor up. No. Daji shouted. Her delicate body turned into a ray of light, intending to use her body to block. This moment happened too quickly. Even Wei Chang couldn't stop himself. If they collided, Daji would have to lie in bed and recuperate for a few months. Her life might even be in danger. All the subordinates' mouths were slightly wide open. This is going to be a disaster. However, Wushu Empire was not only his honor's painstaking effort, it was also everyone's painstaking effort. I definitely don't wish to see Wushu Empire fall just like that. Daji opened up her arms and prepared to receive Master with her embrace. In any case, I just can't disturb Master's rest. You bad fellows. Daji closed her beautiful eyes, waiting to be blown away. Suddenly, Daji felt a hand wrap around her waist. The hand was big and warm. He even felt that he was lying in someone's embrace, and he didn't have to worry about anything in this embrace. It was so comfortable. It was just like lying in his mother's embrace. Daji could not help but look up. This was an enchanting face that could charm him to death. Even if he died now, it would be worth it. This is Master. Master's chin is so handsome. That's right. Yihua finally came out. Just now, when Daji collided into the barrier, Yihua felt it. When he came out and saw that Daji was seeking death, he fainted. This Daji sure is scary when she's stubborn. Yihua stretched out his palm and slapped towards that terrifying black light. That black light was like a volleyball, and after being slapped by Yihua, it disappeared. When everyone saw that his honor had appeared, they went into a daze for a moment. Soon after, all of them knelt onto the ground and shouted, "Subordinates, pay respect to his honor." Right now, Yihua was still wearing his white pajamas. His arms were wrapped around Daji's body as he thought to himself, this Daji's figure is not bad, her chest muscles are quite firm. Daji's face and ears were red as she leaned into Yihua's embrace, just like a little girlfriend. Yihua lightly let go of Daji and said faintly, "Don't be so foolish in the future." Daji, who was let go of, immediately felt empty and lonely. "Master, Daji understands." Daji said, feeling wronged. "Everything that I am doing is for Master's sake." Yihua stretched out his hand and patted Daji's head. However, with just a pat, Daji's so-called feeling of being wronged immediately disappeared, and Daji's face was filled with joy. Yihua turned his head and looked towards his subordinates, revealing out a death stare. The latter's head shrunk back. I had just taught them a lesson twice, and when I was sleeping comfortably, I was woken up. Don't you know that I have a temper when I get up? If you don't have a good reason, I will make all of you break up. The subordinates were completely speechless. This threat is too formidable. However, Your Honor, back then, you were the one who pulled the matchmaker. We were just listening to your words. Your Honor, something big happened. Luoho lowered his head and shouted out with a guilty look on his face. Yihua let out a light sigh. Something big happened again. How can you all have so many big things in your hearts? Tell me, what big thing is it? Luoho hurriedly told Yihua everything that happened, and the more Yihua heard, the worse his expression became. There are always unruly people who want to cause trouble, Yihua shouted out. I gave you all a comfortable and safe environment, but you all actually don't know how to be grateful. You all even came to threaten me. Not bad. Awesome. Do you all really think that I don't kill people? To think that you all would dare to provoke my territory. Your Honor, what should we do? Wei Chang asked gravely. This time, we must definitely show them our strength. If not, they will think that Wushu Empire is easy to bully. Wait for me to change my clothes. Yes. All of the subordinates had an excited look on their faces. His Honor has finally become tough. Previously, he had been saying that he would use a gentle policy and reduce the amount of killing. In the end, everyone thought that we are soft persimmons and tried to bully us. Thus, we must use blood to prove that Wushu Empire cannot afford to offend anyone. Yihua walked into the room, and Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were currently hugging each other with a pitiful look on their faces. Looking at their expressions, Yihua seemed to be smiling. I don't want to. Then, I would be saying, come on my boy, these women, they just don't mean what they say, but their bodies are still honest. Under Daji's service, Yihua changed into the emperor's robe, then walked out of the bedroom with a dignified look on his face. Wei Chang, Lai Gu, follow me. As for the rest, go and arrange for the execution platform. I want to see just how many heads are going to fall onto the ground today, Yihua said coldly. Hearing such a thing, Yihua was unable to endure it anymore. These humans are too arrogant. They are simply not putting me in their eyes at all. Seems like you all still haven't figured out one thing. Chapter 948. In this Wushu Empire, I am the heavens. You want to fight against the heavens? That's just digging your own grave. It seems that my benevolence made you think that I am easy to bully? Look at how obedient Qingya and Donghuang Baiji are right now. After scolding me for being trash so many times, you should know how powerful my revenge is right now, right? Both Wei Chang and Lai Gu, who were following behind Yihua, could smell the smell of blood. This feeling was really good. He really missed the good times of the past. The air was filled with fresh blood, as if it was filled with a burning fragrance. It was really intoxicating, and he was unable to extricate himself. At this moment, the person sitting quietly in front of the palace gate did not know what was going to happen. He still had an overbearing expression, as if he was the kind of person who did not fear power. His expression was on point and his aura was not bad, but he only dared to sit quietly. However, they knew that the emperor would definitely not kill anyone, because the emperor was carrying out a policy of conciliation. He had been sitting there for a few days, but the emperor had yet to appear. He must be panicking. This voidless empire was very powerful, but this emperor did not have any opinions of his own, and was not decisive in killing. If other countries were to encounter such a thing, they would have long since arrested the culprit and beheaded the culprit. But over here, there is no need to be afraid at all. There were still tens of thousands of people marching. He didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill them all. If he really dared to kill him, he would be crowned as a bloodthirsty tyrant. Just as these people were in deep thoughts, the palace gate let out a muffled sound. Creaking sounds could be heard. A slender figure appeared first. The emperor had come out. No one had expected that the emperor would choose to appear at this time. What did that mean? Feeling the majesty of the imperial power, Everyone lowered their heads slightly. Yihua looked at the spacious public square in front of him, and there were several hundred people sitting there quietly. There was even a banner on the public square, saying that the banner was incompetent and actually allowed the supporters to stay in the empire. Looking at those banners, Yihua was angered to the point that he nearly burned all of them to death. I, the Supreme Overlord, will be able to let whoever I want to come in and stay with me. None of your business. I provide you with food, drinks, and entertainment, and even protect your safety. Yet you still don't know how to behave and ask for more. Let me ask you all, what are you all sitting here for? Yihua asked faintly with his hands behind his back. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Only when the emperor walked out did they know fear. What was the imperial prestige? This empress is asking you a question. Yihua's tone couldn't help but become a bit heavier. Everyone felt as if their hearts were going to explode, and they were completely unable to speak. At this moment, a person who seemed to be the leader of the group stood up, and even puffed out his chest. I think that what Voidless Empire needs is an upright emperor, and not an emperor who tacitly allows the existence of supporters. As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. If they were to die, it would all be because of this man. Yihua slightly narrowed his eyes, then said faintly, "Capture them all." Yes. Wei Chong waved his hand, and countless black-armored warriors immediately rushed out from the palace. The plaza in front of the palace gate was immediately filled with wailing, and some people even started to curse. Tyrant. A fatuous ruler. Voidless Empire will be destroyed in your hands no matter what. Trash Emperor, you don't deserve to be. Yihua was angered to the point of laughing. He turned his head around and looked at those people. You all might not know this, but in this world, the only one who is capable of destroying Wushu Empire is me. After finished speaking, Yihua brought Wei Chong and Lai Gu along and continued walking. Meanwhile, those few hundred sitters were escorted to the guillotine. The guillotine was naturally set up by Yihua, and it was very big, to the point that it was the size of a few football fields. Back then, when Yihua designed the guillotine, he planned to use it as a deterrent, so the bigger the better. I never expected that I would have to use it in just a few months. Humans aren't used to peaceful days, and they always want to stir up trouble, and even want to snatch my empire. Just where did you all get your courage from? I am rather curious, are there people causing mischief in the underworld? Let's not care about those first. In Voidless Empire's East City, this place belonged to the wealthy district, and it was the place where the celebrities lived. Every time, the parade would pass by this place and shout slogans. The content of the slogans was naturally saying that the imperial power was protecting those supporters, and that many of the children of the opposition were locked up and had yet to be released. The son of the richest man in the country was even beaten to death on the spot. This kind of evil deed should be punished by the heavens, and the emperor must give an explanation. Yihua walked onto the main street of Voidless Empire, and when everyone saw Yihua, they all lightly kneeled down to welcome him. This seems to be the first time I've seen the emperor walking on the main street. Looking at the emperor's expression, the emperor doesn't seem to be very good. Thinking back to the things that happened during the past few days, I felt relieved. Seems like the emperor is starting to worry too. Yihua enjoyed this way of welcoming the emperor. This means that being an emperor is still somewhat useful. If not, I feel like being an emperor is nothing more than this. Gradually, Yihua caught up to the parade. When he heard the words that the parade was shouting, Yihua's expression didn't look very good. What a bunch of unruly people. Furthermore, the number of people in the parade is not small. There are over 10,000 people in the parade. Seems like only the guillotine that flows with blood will be able to teach them a lesson. Towards the emperor's sudden appearance, the people in the parade didn't seem to take it to heart. All of them pretended not to see the emperor and continued shouting. Yihua felt that these people were not bad. They are all youngsters with a very bright future. They have courage and spirit. I hope that the guillotine will continue to be so unyielding. Capture them all. Yes. Wei Chong accepted the order respectfully. Countless black-armored soldiers appeared in the surroundings and surrounded the parade of 10,000 people. The entire scene was filled with an austere aura. Yihua slowly walked to the front of the parade. Everyone was looking at what this emperor was going to do. The atmosphere at the scene was frozen to the extreme. Just what is going to happen? Bring them away. Wei Chang shouted out coldly. This was a 10,000-man team, not a 100-man team. If these people were too strong, there would still be people who would resist. Where are you bringing us to? What law did we break? Some of the people in the parade began shouting out and resisting with their lives. In any case, these people don't dare to kill people. Lai Gu shouted out coldly. What crime did you all commit? Don't you all have any idea in your hearts? Unclear. Your Majesty, please explain. Your Majesty, just what crime did we commit? That's right, Your Majesty, you cannot randomly capture people. Yihua looked at the people in front of him who didn't care about their lives and said in a low voice, I, the Emperor, will give all of you a crime of death. The reason is, your time of death has arrived. The scene became silent. The reason for committing a crime is actually because your time of death has arrived? Can this be any more unreasonable than this? Could it be that this emperor has gone mad? To actually want to kill so many people? Could it be that he isn't afraid of the wrath of the heavens? Lai Gu feels that his honor is domineering. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.